let's call it what it is. That's a devastating loss. I know there's a lot of factors in this one, and a lot of things that you can be happy about as a Leafs fan as well. The fact that they get to overtime, they get a point. That's a very good team for the Detroit Red Wings. That's a promising night from Joseph Woll. You are missing a lot of guys. But look, I don't want to play the moral victory game. And I don't want to play the, well, it's great that you got a point and that's what matters, and I'm happy to see that they played so well, and I'm happy to see that they went toe-to-toe with the Red Wings. I don't want to do that in these games because this is a game they should have won this one. You should have beat the Detroit Red Wings tonight. You were the better team in this one through 40 minutes, bare minimum. You came out a little bit slow, a little bit flat-footed to start the third period, and as that third period went on, you kind of woke up a bit. But then the Red Wings get that thing to overtime. They're a high-skilled, fast-paced team. They showed you why they're so lethal when it gets to 3-on-3 overtime, carrying a lot of play, creating a lot of chances in the 3-on-3. And then you finally get possession, and, I mean, to be completely honest with you, that is a bad play and a bad decision by Easton Cowan to leave the zone with that puck there with Mo Seider all over him. That's a big, strong, physical man chasing you down, closing the gap on you, who's taking away time and space, and he makes a decision to go out of the zone with him on his back. You had to keep possession. You had to keep that puck in the zone if you could. You were getting back pressure by the Red Wings. Unless you were just going to try to fly away from that situation and then turn. Doing what Cowan did right there was a complete and utter mistake. That was a mistake and a piss-poor ending to a game that should have been 2 points for the Toronto Maple Leafs. They played a great game tonight. They created a lot of chances. They just could not capitalize on them. They got lucky in the first period, to be honest with you. They got lucky to get away, not having given up a little bit more. Some of it thanks to the Red Wings missing the net or hitting posts on some of their chances. Some of it to some amazing play by Joseph Woll, who deserves a lot of credit for stepping up in this one after the tough stretch that he's had over the last week and a bit here. But you need to be picking up points. You played a poor game against the Minnesota Wild on Monday. You blew one against the Vegas Golden Knights last Thursday. You laid an absolute egg against the Utah Mammoth last Tuesday. There's been countless times here where points have been dropped by this group when they shouldn't have. And this is yet another example of one that you let slip away where you outplayed the other team for the majority of the game. And then the third period, you let this get out of hand. I mean, relatively. It's obviously not like the Red Wings came in here and just dominated them. But you let this thing get out of hand where it just flipped to the side of the Red Wings were carrying play. The Red Wings had the pace. They were the team who were generating the chances in the third period. When you're tied 1-1 in your own barn, you should be getting going. You should be rocking. You should be bringing the pace yourself. You should continue to play the game you had through the first 40 minutes. I see people in the chat right now. Mr. Pinto, who's saying teeth kicked in. I see people saying this is a bad team. You should know that. I don't know how you could look at this group and then look at the effort that they put up against Colorado, even the one against Vegas where they have blown it in the third period, where it just was a bad third period. The comeback win against the Jets, the game here tonight against the Red Wings, a top team in the Atlantic, and you could walk away from that game or this last stretch of hockey and say this is a bad team. I don't think this is a great team. I think this is a good team who struggles with inconsistencies. They took a long time to find their identity, and they're battling through injury, none of which I'm using as excuses because they shot themselves in the foot for the poor start that they had. But playing these types of games against a team that is first in the Atlantic Division, night in and night out, I just can't agree with people with the takeaway right now that this is a bad team. If you're getting blown out of the water in these games or in these situations, sure, I got no problem with that and with that take and coming on here and saying that, but they've made themselves competitive. They're sitting just on the fringe of playoffs, a playoff spot right now. It's just frustrating that you have a chance to close the gap to beat some of these teams that you need to be beating or should be beating, and you let it slip away. And a lot of people keep asking about what is it that you're going to do in the deadline or at the deadline or leading up to the break. The Olympic break, where you're at by then, is going to determine a lot. You need to win these games because a loss against Minnesota, where that one just completely gets away from you. A loss here tonight, following the week where you just dropped a couple of points. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. I'm not calling this a scheduled loss, by the way. I think that's a little bit ridiculous. This is not a scheduled loss type of night. We'll be breaking down the entire game, though, right here on this channel. Leafs Nation 401, make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe here to the channel as well. Leafs Nation 401, subscribe. Trying to get that last minute push on to get to 25,000 subscribers here on the channel by the time we get to the Olympic break. I don't know how likely we are to get there, but that's the goal nonetheless. So keep subscribing here to the channel as well. Shortly, we're going to be joined by Dan Riccio, who came back here to Toronto to rightfully cheer for the better Canadian team in the Toronto Maple Leafs, leaving Vancouver, leaving the Canucks behind. So Dan Riccio will stop by the show shortly, and if you're looking for more content covering the Toronto Maple Leafs and all Toronto sports, check out Off the Roster. The link is pinned in the chat there, so make sure to click that link, subscribe to the channel, the Nation Network. All the content that we have outside of just team-specific will be based on the Nation Network channel, and then after Dan, we will be taking callers here on the channel as well. So keep liking, subscribing, turning on notifications, all of that good stuff here on the post-game show. We're going to be breaking it all down. I want to hear from you guys in the chat. I want to know what you think about this game, how you're feeling about the Leafs season, and the fact that they dropped this one. Drago_61, who's watching on Instagram right now, says there's no way the Leafs outplayed the Wings. Walls saved them, or they should have been beat by 2 or more goals. I would just have to disagree with that. The first 40 minutes, I mean, yes, there were some primo chances for the Detroit Red Wings in the first period that Joseph Woll came up with some saves on. But I want to remind people, you are allowed to have your goaltender save you on some opportunities. You are allowed to have your goaltender bail you out and steal games and win some. And it's just kind of unfortunate that what ends up happening is that when the goaltender gets goal support, Joseph Woll didn't have his best games. I mean, you look at the Vegas one, you look at the Minnesota one where the whole team kind of stunk all the way through, but Joseph Woll shows up here tonight. You got a great game from John Gibson at the other side, and it ends up being a little bit clunky. So, I mean, just to say, hey, Joseph Woll made some great saves, so you're not allowed to say that the Leafs played well, I think is a little bit ridiculous, chat. I think it's a little bit ridiculous. But, hey, that's your opinion. And if you've got opinions, send them in the chat there. If you've got opinions that you want read, questions answered, whatever it may be, send those in via Super Chat. Just a quick reminder here, before we get to our guest, to people in the chat, you got questions, comments, concerns. You want them read here on the show. You want them answered. Send them in via Super Chat. Proceeds from our Super Chats do go to Sick Kids Charity, Canada's #1 children's intensive research hospital, #3 in North America. Proceeds from our Super Chat go to Sick Kids. As I said, and last year we raised about $4,500 here on the channel. This season, I think we're on pace to go well past that, and that's all because of you guys in the chat. So greatly appreciate that. With that, let's get to our first guest here of the program. It's his second time on the Leafs Nation After Dark, but the first time with me, because the first time he came on was when the other guys, as you guys just ripped them through the entire show, filled in for me while I was away for a work trip. Let's welcome to the program Dan Riccio. Dan, how you feeling after this Leafs loss to the Red Wings tonight?
Man, it's a tough one. I don't know how else to put it, right? Like you needed the 2 points. You needed the 2 points in regulation, but the Red Wings just have their number this year.
I have their number this year. I mean, I think it was Maurice Sider was talking about it in the broadcaster. He's like, yeah, they used to get the better of us, but not anymore. I'm like, this guy's just rubbing salt in the wounds of Leafs fans who've seen this year. And it started for me, Dan, back a couple of weeks ago when they played them the last time, and they blew that lead against the Red Wings and then lost it in overtime. And I remember sitting there saying, that's a team you got to be beating, and you got to be beating them in reg. Not because the Red Wings aren't a quality opponent, but just because of how important this is in the standings. And it just adds an extra sting here tonight, doesn't it? The fact that this is a team you're looking up at in the standings. I thought you outplayed them for, at bare minimum, 40 minutes of this game. I think it kind of leveled out by the chances the Red Wings created in the third and then the way it went in overtime. But I thought you should have won tonight. You got the goaltending. Your big boy and Auston Matthews looked really good, and you just could not find a way to beat John Gibson.
It was tough. You know, like the first period, there was a good amount of chances going both ways, but you feel like you have that offensive zone faceoff at the end of the first, and okay, we can go in with a 1-goal lead through 20, and they just completely threw up all over themselves after that offensive zone faceoff. Don't love the way Jake McCabe played that. Don't know why he stepped up at the defensive blue to try and make a play there. I guess he's like, hey, if I make this play, period's over, we're done, we're out of here, and it's 1-0 going to the second. But, I mean, he just makes an absolute meal of it. And those are the mistakes you just can't have. The third period I didn't love because, as you mentioned, they play really well through 40. And then third period, it's like, you know, they kind of let off the gas a little bit. They seem to get a little too conservative. And I don't know if it's a mindset of like, hey, let's just get the point. But you can't really have that mindset at this stage of the season. Like, they lose tonight, and they've pretty much cooked themselves as far as tracking down one of those top 3 spots in the Atlantic. To me, now, you're like, from a playoff perspective, you're just looking at one of the 2 wild card spots. And like those three spots in the Atlantic, they're too far out of reach to catch up in 30 games. Like, it's very unlikely you're going to catch those guys through the final 30 games of the season.
That's a good point. You swing that thing out the other way a little bit more. You give the Red Wings that opportunity by giving them a point, by going to OT at bare minimum. You're kind of narrowing down the fields to like 2 spots. And at this point, it's basically just Atlantic Division teams that you're really looking at in that chase. Obviously good to pick up a point, but you shot yourself in the foot so badly to start this season. You can't just be playing the, well, let's get a point tonight game. It's frustrating, but let's go to that Jake McCabe play that you brought up. It's unfortunate timing because not just in the game, but a moment for Jake McCabe there where he's gone off of a week and a half, maybe a 2-week stretch here where it's not been the best play from Jake McCabe. I thought it started better for him. I thought it started better for him and the Carlo pairing as a whole, coming off a game where Brandon Carlo didn't play that well against Minnesota either. They seemed to level things out. The chances they were giving up weren't really there. And then it's a combination of bad read, not trusting guys, miscommunication, whatever you want to call it. But that was an all or nothing play by Jake McCabe to step up at the blue line, and he got nothing. He didn't get the man.
Yeah.
He didn't get the puck. The Red Wings walk in, little dump pass down to Raymond, who goes through, and Larkin chips it through to him. Things in the back of your net, and that's just a moment in the game where it's like, that can never happen. 17 seconds left. I talk about it all the time on the post game. Minute into a period, minute left in a period. You can't be giving up goals then.
Yeah, and they've done it way too much. Like end of first period, end of second period. It feels like they've given up so many goals in those spots, especially when they were struggling a little bit more early in the season. And I watched it and I'm like, what's he thinking here? Did he not realize there was a forward down below him and he thought it's a 2-on-2? I can step up. Nothing about it really made all that much sense. And for McCabe, like I know people say that Oliver Ekman-Larsson's been the most steady defenseman this year for the Leafs. I actually think it's been McCabe. Like you look at his numbers, especially the Leafs on ice numbers with him at 5-on-5, they're really good. I think it was close to a 55-60% goals for share on the ice with Jake McCabe prior to this recent stretch where he struggled a little bit and he's been on the ice for quite a few against. And I think there's probably a correlation with the injury. He only took the one game off for whatever it was that took him out of the lineup for that one game. Maybe it's still lingering. I don't know, but we're not seeing the same Jake McCabe that we were getting earlier this year.
I haven't really got to talk to you much about this or heard. Like, I've listened to you on Off the Roster, which the link to Off the Roster is pinned in the chat there, and so I've got some of your general opinions on it, but I'm kind of curious because you bring up the injury to McCabe there. We are watching Matthew Nyes, who leaves the game and comes back. We watch OEL, who leaves this game. They show the press box. There's Chris Tanev, Dakota Joshua, William Nylander sitting up there. And it's like everybody. It's just a parade to the press box at this point for this team, a parade to the injury reserve for this group. Do you put any weight into the fact that there's guys sitting up there waiting to get healthy to return to this lineup and that things could get back on track if they can just continue to hang in the fight here? Because right now, in my opinion at least, it just feels like some of these guys are looking at it being like, I can't take time out of this lineup. I got to be in here every day. And it feels like that's kind of coming through where you can see a Matthew Nyes who's not at 100%. You see Jake McCabe making these mistakes. Like, do you take any positivity away from the fact that the injured list is as long as it is and we kind of expect some of these guys to be coming back soon? Or is it just like, you got to make do with what you've got right now?
Yeah, you got to make do, right? Every team in the league has got the heavy schedule. Every team in the league has got all kinds of injuries right now, and you're trying to manage your way through it as best you can, but there's only so much you can do. They brought in Troy Stetcher off the waiver wire, and he's been a godsend for this team. If they didn't have that, how many more minutes would Philippe Myers be playing this season? That would have sunk them a lot earlier than they had been so far. So, the injuries are part of the game right now because you didn't give yourself a better cushion through the easier part of your schedule, which was early in the season. You're left with being desperate and having guys play unless they just absolutely cannot be out there. And as far as the injured list, like, all due respect to guys like Dakota Joshua, but really for me, it's Nylander and Tanev. And Tanev, the way his season's gone, I'm not really expecting him back at all this year. It's more like a hope and a prayer to maybe get him back for sometime around the playoffs, is everything I can tell about the situation around Chris Tanev. And so it's really Nylander. And I know there's the whole question mark around the Olympics. Like, if he can't play right now for the Leafs, there's no way he should be going to the Olympics. And we shouldn't be telling guys what they should or shouldn't do with their bodies, but I think Willie is obviously
he's gonna
hyped
go.
Up to be he's hyped up to go to the Olympics. Any of us would be. This is a childhood dream that he's trying to live out here. Of course, he wants to play for the Tricolor in the Olympics, just like his dad did. He wants this. So if he's able to get back, that's great. But these guys want to play for their country, and it's just tough for the Leafs right now.
It's the one thing I keep looking at and saying, hey, they're sitting there and they're going to come back. And I think that it was tough because I was playing almost the excuses game in my head without wanting to admit to them. But the Vegas game, I looked at that and it's like, that's a night William Nylander is rocking and he's going to be playing really well. He had 2 points through 4 shifts in that game, 2 minutes in. I'm like, this is a William Nylander game. He leaves early and then things go back and flip the other way. You lose that one in OT. And to see some of these games, like it's being pointed out in the chat here right now, they're like, well, William Nylander plays at full, they win this game. Knies plays at full, they win this game. Well, they're not. They're not here. And I think some of these guys are just trying to fight their way through to get yourselves to that break because I think you're going to get some refreshed guys, some refreshed legs, but you got to get points.
What about the other night? Like, the Wild still blew them out. They were missing Eriksson Ek. They're missing
the whole second line.
Like, for the whole scheduled loss thing, it's like, well, the Wild had a bunch of injuries too. So it's just, I don't know. It just falls on deaf ears anytime you talk about injuries for me because, like it's part of the equation, but also like you have to find your way through it. Good teams find a way to still get the results they need to punch their ticket to the playoffs.
Yeah, and there's only one game right now that I was willing to allow the scheduled loss title, and that was the Utah game. Every other game, if you've got a little bit of a break, you got to be winning. You got to be at least going into it with the expectation that you're going to come away with 2 points and then figure it out from there. If you just go into it and you play a good game and you fall in that one, like, okay, we can work our way through it after the fact, but like the only one I can call a scheduled loss is the Utah one. I want to ask you about Auston Cowan. He's going to be a focal point here tonight following what happened in OT. What do you chalk that up to? Is that just rookie mistake? Is that a guy who's not mature enough here yet, not physically, not mentally mature enough? Is that Craig Berube mismanaging ice time and overtime, which is also being a conversation? Like, what goes wrong there, aside from the obvious where it's a bad play and you can't make that?
Yeah, I mean, Auston Cowan makes a terrible decision there. He's got to be more aware. He's got to get rid of that puck, and he's a player right now. Like when I watch him play, like there's some flashy moments. He had a couple of plays where he probably should have had an apple or two tonight, especially the first period when he sent Nick Waugh through. Waugh was driving through the middle, and he gave him a nice little saucer pass, put it right on the tape, and Waugh just couldn't get it around John Gibson. So there's nice plays in there, but there's also plays where he clearly avoids contact or he gets scared of contact. Maybe that's too harsh of a word, but when you watch Auston Cowan closely, he's a good forechecker, but there's moments where he sees somebody coming and he does not want any of that smoke. And I think that was a moment where, you're Auston Cowan and your first year in the league. You really want to body up against Moritz Seider and see who's going to win that battle. I know you want to make a play here in overtime and maybe be the hero, but this is a moment you're in a bad spot. You got to get rid of that puck. But I also think there's some blame for Craig Berube here. Like, why isn't Nick Robertson seeing the ice in overtime? He's got a ton of speed. He's a guy that has had a good season. He's beaten expectations. He's earned more trust from Berube clearly, but still not enough trust to put him out there in OT. I'm surprised, for what we know of coaches and rookies, how Auston Cowan has won such a leash with Craig Berube in a different way than other guys have been able to.
Well, to me as well, like, I don't mind him going out there, and I know in all of this, you're trying to balance, okay, Auston Matthews is the guy you want out every other shift effectively in your 3-on-3. I got no problem with that, but I don't understand, and maybe it's just easier for me watching from my couch on TV, but it seems like an obvious thing where it's like, here's a guy in John Tavares who, and I mean no shade to him, but he doesn't have the boots in general. He never did. He came into the league without the boots. Now he's 35 years old. He's playing in a condensed schedule. You're watching him slow down in front of our eyes. I have no doubt that after this Olympic break, he comes back like he shot out of a cannon, similar to how he started the season. But as we've pointed out here with the injuries, you're not there yet, so you got to get through it. Well, why is he out there with a less responsible guy? Why can't you pair him in overtime with somebody like a Bobby McMahon, a Nick Robertson, as you mentioned? Or conversely, if you want to put Auston Cowan out there, why can't you put him out there with somebody who's got a little bit more legs under them? Why can't Nick Waugh play? Like, I know he's not the most offensive guy in the world, but he's got ability. He's got chemistry with Cowan. He's defensively responsible. Same situation goes for Scott Laughton. Why can't they find themselves out on the ice in these situations? There's been some questionable decision-making by Craig Berube in terms of overtime specifically, who goes out and who goes out with who at times, and even late game in situations where it doesn't get them tonight on this, but like I look at the Vegas game there, why is Scott Laughton not a guy that you're putting out on the ice to kill that thing with 45 seconds left, or Nick Waugh out on the ice when you have these guys who are so good man down killing stuff? I just keep coming back to that because a lot of people want to say Craig Berube is a terrible coach. I don't think system-wise or motivationally he's a terrible coach. I think he really struggles with in-game management, and in some of these OT losses or late game blown leads, it's really shown.
Well, the overtime is probably the one that you look at and you see the numbers across the league, and most overtime games go to a shootout. Not the Leafs games.
Yeah,
Leaf games are always ending in overtime. You know, it's like the 3-on-3 that we've always loved. It's not what's going on around the league. And I was covering the Canucks earlier this year, and they were terrible in OT last year with Rick Tocchet as their head coach. This year they came in and they've been like, Adam Foote's not had the greatest time as an NHL head coach, if we're being honest about it. But his solution for overtime was just like, win a face-off and then just hold the puck until we get to the shootout. And it's terrible. And I know a lot of coaches are doing that around the league, but not the Leafs. And I'm kind of surprised that they haven't been one of those teams that are trying to get it to the even bigger coin flip that is the shootout. I've personally, I've started to really hate 3-on-3 hockey. I hate how many games end up going to overtime. And it's like, it's a 3-on-3 league now. And it also really jumbles up the standings to a point where you can't gain any ground and you don't lose ground all that much. But Craig Berube, I got questions about how you've managed overtime. And, it's a huge part of the game because so many of these games do go to OT. And the Leafs are coming out on the wrong end of a lot of the extra point games.
Yeah, the OTs drive me nuts as well. I played lacrosse, so my suggestion to the OT is in overtime, there needs to be an over and back. You can leave the blue line, but you can't cross center ice. And if you do, it's blown and there's a neutral zone or it comes back to your own zone and the faceoff's in your end. You want to eliminate that. You want to create more chances and guys going at it and mistakes happening. I think that's how that gets done. That's what I would rather see. I can't stand, this is a side note just from the game, but I can't stand guy comes up the wall, he gets a defender on him, and he's like, oh no, I've ran out of space. And he's like, all the way back to the zone. Everybody goes for a change. I'm like, fuck this, man. Just fucking go to the net. Last thing I want to ask you here. Auston Matthews, he has a bunch of really, really good chances. He had 11 in 12 before coming into this game tonight. He had some really good looks on the power play tonight. I thought Auston Matthews had himself another really, really good game for this team. Unfortunately, it doesn't come with a goal for Matthews, so that's kind of just going to be a strike against him. But I don't know. I don't put this at the hands or at the feet of Auston Matthews and say, hey, buddy, you needed to step up. Obviously, you'd like to see the guy score, but I watched him all night create chances, drive the net, make plays, make second chance opportunities happen. He played well in the defensive zone. Just what do you make of Auston Matthews' game here and the fact that the captain has stepped up, maybe a little too late, but at a time in the season when you needed him the most, looking at where you were at in the standings when he started to turn it on?
I know correlation doesn't equal causation, but why did the switch flip after they made the coaching change with Mark Savard? It's just it's one of the weirdest things
bizarre
I've ever experienced in covering hockey through all these years. An assistant coach gets changed, and the team record changed, but it's also the team record change because Matthews has been on a heater since they made that change. And I don't know what was going on. I mean, last year was the back injury. Earlier this year, maybe there was something going on, but he clearly wasn't himself. We were looking at the edge data, he's not skating as fast, his shot's not as hard, and then all of a sudden everything changes. So, I mean, he's back, right? He is so back. You see that play in overtime. I thought he was going to end it there, where he did like the pivot look, made it, and then he turns around, does like a 180, and he goes back to his forehand and tries to get John Gibson against his body, and he just missed the far post. But it's just an absolutely, like, that's peak Auston Matthews, and I don't know where that's been for the last little while. I'm glad it's back. The one moment that I didn't love, and it's hard it's hard to crush him too hard, but when he got that half break in the third period, I kind of just wanted him to rip it. He tried to take it back inside, and Seider was able to get a stick check on him. Like, the shot's been looking good. Like, just let it rip. But I guess, John Gibson was so good on the night that maybe a little bit more to.
The only other one that I didn't love that much myself as well, I thought this was maybe where you were going. I agree with that, but that was when Bobby McMahon got hit by Bernard Docker, and maybe he just recognized there was a penalty coming, but, it's been 10 years of asking for this. I guess at this point I should just expect it not to be the case anymore. I'm not expecting him to go drop the gloves, but like turning and going and grabbing the guy, I thought would at least be bare minimum. And all you see when you see the replay happen again is like, oh, where's the penalty there? I'm like, oh, dude. It's like that final missing piece of the puzzle that I feel like is just right there, and we're seeing it get closer at times, and you're like, dude, just go grab the guy or turn and show everybody. But I thought that was where you're going.
We just want you to be fake tough guy. Just be fake tough guy.
I'm cool with that. I'm cool.
I don't want you to actually be a tough guy. Like, I don't want you to actually fight anybody, but be fake tough guy at least.
At least sell it that you could be a tough guy. Like, at least sell it a little bit. Not be like, I don't want to go in there at all. Reach, I appreciate you taking the time here. You got a couple things going on over at Off the Roster right now. Obviously, the link is pinned in the chat on the Nation Network YouTube channel, so people, make sure you go check that out. Yeah, after, or click on it and subscribe while you're watching the show here right now as well. But you guys, Cabby, Lindsay Dunn, every single day just racking in some unbelievable guests over there. But you've got a contest going on right now, which I think is pretty applicable to people who are watching this show right now. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I just moved back to Toronto after a few years out covering the Vancouver Canucks, and as an initiation, I guess, of sorts. The contest is I'm getting sent to be in the most interesting seats in the house at Scotiabank Arena for Tuesday's game against Buffalo. And we're asking listeners who I should be sitting with. So should I be sitting with Zach? Should I be sitting with Matt Sundin? Should I be sitting with somebody less fun? I think that's where most people are going to go. There was a Danny DeVito suggestion. I don't know if we're going to be able to pull Danny DeVito, but like that would be kind of funny. A couple of short Italian guys watching the game behind Mike Johnson, who's going to be doing sidelines that night. So it's going to be a fun contest. So all you got to do is head over to our Instagram page, Off the Roster Pod, and hit a follow. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's the Nation Network YouTube channel, so you can subscribe to that, and then leave a comment with who you think I should be watching the game with Tuesday night against the Buffalo Sabres, and you'll be entered into a chance to win future tickets to a Leaf game somewhere down the line. So if you want in on a potential night at Scotiabank, get in on the contest.
I had a buddy who used to he always tried to make this his like punishment in a bet. He'd make a bet and be like, oh, if I lose, I'll get this tattoo. And the tattoo he wanted to get was on his knee or around his knee. And he wanted it to say Dan above his knee and DeVito under his knee. Dan, knee, DeVito. I'm like, you are an idiot, and you might as well get this anyways because you've proposed this like 30 times and every bet that he would make about what he was going to do. But make sure to go check that out. Reach, appreciate this. Appreciate you spending the time here with me, and we'll have to have you back on for another After Dark to break down more Leafs games immediately following the game. So appreciate it. Make sure to go check out Off the Roster. Thanks, Reach.
Can't wait for it, man. See you soon.
There you go. Dan Riccio, Off the Roster, joining us here on the postgame. First time with me, second time here on this channel, breaking down everything happening in the Leafs games. If you are watching right now, hit that like button, subscribe here to the Leafs Nation 401 YouTube channel as well. Make sure to subscribe to the Nation Network YouTube channel, where Off the Roster is live, breaking down everything happening in Toronto sports even outside of the Toronto Maple Leafs, with some pretty amazing guests. So make sure to check that out. We got a lot more stuff to break down here tonight on the post game. We've got another guest who's going to be coming up, and then we're going to open up the call lines, and I want to hear from you guys, Leafs Nation, about how you're feeling about this game tonight. A couple housekeeping things to remind people of. Every set of 50 likes we get here on the post game show, 50, 100, 150, 200, all of that and more. We will do smelling salts here on the post-game show. I know it's a gimmick. I know people always say that. Oh, look at this guy doing gimmicks. Yes, it's a gimmick. Yes, that is what it is. That's the whole point. That's the purpose of it. It's something that we've been doing here on the post-game shows for a long, long time. It's something that the people in the chat wanted from the very beginning. There's a comment in the chat that just made me stop in my tracks. That's why I stopped and laughed. But it's something we've been doing for a long time, and it's something we'll continue to do. So make sure to like, subscribe, turn on those notifications. And we did hit our first set of 50 likes. So with that, I'll get to the smelling salts, and then we'll bring on our next guest. And when our next guest comes on here in 1 second, we'll read some of these super chats that we've got going, and maybe, just maybe, depending on how he's feeling, maybe we can open up the call lines with the guest. We'll see. We'll see. Here's the smelling salts for the first 50 likes. Keep jacking up the likes. Keep subscribing to the channel. But thank you guys. Oh, fuck. These ones are strong. Ugh. All right. Let's get to our next guest. I haven't got to speak to him in a while. He joined the show when I wasn't here. So he did an After Dark recently, but it wasn't with me. He did it with Reach. So let's welcome to the show, Incarcerated Vic. Vic, what's up, buddy?
First of all, how's my mic level?
You're good.
I never know how this thing works.
You're good.
Oh, wait. Last time I was on...
There's the music.
All right. Now we're good. I think this is my first time doing this after a loss, and I got to tell you, when you asked me to pop on here, I was very excited. So let's
You
start
were
there.
excited.
I wasn't. I was not. I don't like doing this after losses. I hate doing this after losses.
All right. Well, what did you make of this one tonight? Because, this is a hard one for me because I think if this game happened last year or in any of the previous seasons, I'm probably not as frustrated as I am right now, because I'm kind of like battling this mentally, where on one side of things, like, I was really happy with the play for 40 minutes. It wasn't just good play. It was very good play. And I see people in the chat, this team's too old. This team's too slow. They're not good. Like, I don't know how you could watch that hockey and some of the hockey that they've played over the last stretch, including games against top teams or teams that we deem top teams, like Colorado, like Vegas, in spite of a loss there as well, and say in these ones, oh no, this is a bad team. These are games where in a year where you've given yourself a padding at the beginning of the season, you're frustrated that they lost. It's too bad they lost, but it's pretty much like, okay, you got a point. You played really well. You got a good goaltending effort on the other end. It's like you play a Red Wings team that's an Atlantic Division opponent, and as Reach pointed out here, it kind of narrows down your options to get into the playoffs when you lose these games to just wild card spots, because it's not only you not picking up 2 points, but it's a team that's ahead of you picking up an extra one in a game like this that basically accounts for 2 point swing rather than at least 4, but it's still a 2 point swing, even though it's a 1 point disparity in the game itself. It's 2 in the standings. So it's really frustrating. You can't be dropping these ones.
Yeah, and the most frustrating part is that I kind of break it down into 2 plays, Zach. One is the horrifying allowing a goal with an offensive zone faceoff. I don't know how the fuck that happens at the end of the first period.
Like 30 seconds left in a first, too. Yeah.
And then deflating, and then you play well, you get your chances. John Gibson finds his game. He made a lot of big saves in the first period. I thought he was kind of shaky to start the game. I thought he wasn't seeing the puck very well. I thought they had a couple chances. They were throwing everything at the net, and I feel like they kind of hit him a couple times where he didn't actually make the save. anyway, they game Scotty Lawton gets a fucking penalty shot, and he does that with it. So
Yeah.
the first period ends with a deflating moment, and then that is probably the most deflating I've ever been after my team earns themselves a penalty shot. Like, I don't know, we were talking about it a little bit in the chat. I think I saw a super chat about it from Tammy. Like, I don't know what the fuck that was. I don't know what he was thinking. That's not your game. Pick your spot. You've always been a guy that comes in and hammers the slap shot. I feel like the book is out on that, so maybe fake that even. You could get the goalie to bite. I don't know what he was thinking. Like, he just comes in there dangling. Like, that's not a guy that does that. So, I don't know. That kind of pissed me off. It kind of deflated me. I think it might have deflated the bench a little bit too.
Yeah, I mean, the Lawton one sucks just because the way he didn't score was like you had momentum, you were on the penalty kill, you made a great play to draw the penalty shot as well. Like, it's Lorentz picking that thing off on the wall, making a good read, getting into the neutral zone, Lawton recognizing the overcommit by Edvinsson and then beating him to the middle, and then you go on that P shot, like, to just lose it like that and not really get any kind of good effort off is really frustrating. I can't be mad at Lawton about it. It is what it is. I mean, if you watch Sidney Crosby, and I think it was the shootout last week, he fumbles the puck. That's probably the best player to play in the NHL since he entered, and he's losing pucks on a penalty shot. It happens, or on a shootout, it happens, but you're right, in that moment, contextually, it sucks, and it gets away from you. It's like, how in the fuck can that happen? And then, I mean, on top of that, on top of these moments that you're talking about that are just deflating, I mean, look, man, it's quiet in that arena. It is. It's quiet in that arena, and there's no life behind them while they're playing a really, really good game. And they were playing physical. They were battling hard. They were competing their absolute dicks off for the first 40 at bare minimum. There's a mental lapse for the final 30 seconds of the first period, but it was a real good game from the Leafs. And then just there was no life behind them from the crowd. It's unfortunate all the way around.
It's so funny because the more you were going there, the more angry I was getting at certain little other things. Like, for example, Easton Cowan's playing overtime that I completely didn't even fucking mention. Nick Robertson's playing overtime, which we didn't fucking mention. I don't know what the hell was going on in overtime. They play so loosey-goosey. I was talking to my buddy Patrick, who you've met a couple times. He's my Leaf guy. That's the group chat goes with Patrick, and we were saying, I don't know how Nick Robertson and Easton Cowan and hell John Tavares, I know he does the face-off get-off sometimes, but I don't know how these guys are getting on the ice over Matthew Nyes. I don't care how banged up he is. The exact words we use were, I don't care if he has a gunshot wound. If he's sitting on your fucking bench, you put him out there. When he left, it was early in the third when he left, right? And then he came back a little bit later in the third period, correct?
Yeah.
So he came back, and his first shift, you saw a burst there. He took it to the net. He tried a centering pass that didn't work. No one was out there. But his legs were working. I don't know what's wrong with him. He doesn't look the same, obviously. But, again, he's out there. He's sitting there. He's an option. You put that motherfucker on the ice. And another guy that I really would like to see on the ice more in overtime, which I don't, again, for the life of me, understand why he's not there. He's playing on your top fucking line. Why is Bobby McMann not getting a shift in overtime? The guy has shown over and over and over again how much speed he has, and that 3-on-3 is just a crapshoot, and it's a speed game. Whether you give the puck up and you need a guy speeding back on to defend, or whether he picks the puck up and he speeds down and he gets past their defense. Speed. And that guy's got tons and tons of it. I don't know how the fuck he doesn't seem to be able to find a way on the ice. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, and we talked about it with Reach. It's like, okay, you want to put JT out there. Well, you got to be conscious of who you're putting out with some of these guys. I mean, how many times this year have they been burned in OT when it's Domi and Rielly out there? And then there's still times where they get out there together. I get it if it's in the midst of a change and you're going off the ice, but like, I hold my breath every time I see them. And there was a period tonight, or there was a shift tonight, in that OT where they were on the ice together. And it wasn't just an accident or between shifts. It was, they were intentionally put out there together. And then I got no problem with Domi being out there with Matthews anymore. It is what it is, but put a more defensively responsible guy on the backside of things. To your point about McMahon, why is he not out there? Okay, you want to put JT out there, put a guy with legs and who's responsible out there with him. Put Bobby McMahon with John Tavares. Or you want to put a guy who's less mature and can make some of those mistakes, like Easton Cowan. Put Nick Waugh, put Scott Lawton out there with those guys. Like, there are times where it just seems so easy as fans. Obviously, we're not on the bench, but it's like these things burn you before. How can you not learn from them? And you go back to these same things. It frustrates me about Berube because I don't feel the same way as a lot of people do in the chat about his systems and stuff. I think he's done a good job of adapting. I like what he was trying to instill. I think the team wasn't willing to kind of mold to it. That's fine. It doesn't always happen. He had to finally adjust, maybe too late, but he did. But then the bench management is the one thing that's really starting to stick out as a problem. The in-game management, because Vic, this team is playing better. They're playing at a higher tempo. They're playing at a higher pace. And yet there are times where mistakes are made that are just absolutely burning you when it's very avoidable. And a lot of them are coming up in overtime where we all look at it and say, that guy should have never been out there. And it's not a hindsight situation, Vic. It's going into it. You look and say, why? Why is that guy out there with that guy? Why is that guy out there in that situation? Why is that guy out there against that line? And yet Berube continues to go back to these guys, and it's just very confusing, to be honest with you.
Yeah, we see it happen. Like, you could see the goal against happen before it happens, right? It's like when Easton Cowan took that puck out of the offensive zone, everybody on TV watching is like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh my God, he fucking did it. And that was it. And you could see it coming. Do we need to have is Easton Cowan ready conversation? Does he need is he due for the sit one? Like it's
double sided.
Look, hold on. Before we go, I know some people are going to be like, "Hey, take it easy. He's just a kid. Like, don't ruin this kid. Whatever. Blah blah blah. Oh, this is why we can't have nice things. Vic's running him out of town." No, I don't want that to be I don't want people to misconstrue what I'm trying to say here. I think he needs a reset. I think he needs to sit one and just watch. I have no issue with him as a whole. I have all the faith in the world in him. I still love him as a prospect. I don't want him in any trade proposals. I love the kid. I think he's been making bonehead play after bonehead play after bonehead play. Give him one. Watch from the press box. Take it easy. Catch your breath. It's a long schedule. This is probably the most grueling schedule he's had in a long time.
Sure.
I think he needs just to take a deep breath. He makes a lot of these, he gets too amped, I think, where, again, we love that because there's a lot of guys who have no pulse 95% of the time, so you like to see a guy with pulse, but he needs to learn how to play the NHL game, and I think sitting out one game isn't going to kill him. I don't know who's going to come in, though. Fuck, that's the problem because they're so goddamn banged up.
I would more so agree with Zach Green in the chat. He says, I can't stand this kind of talk. Cowan should not be sat. He should be managed better. But it's tough when you have nobody because of injuries. I would probably lean more towards that. And part of it is like, who do you bring into the lineup to sit him? Like, it's going to be Jacob Coolin, and then it throws things into a little bit of a blender if he does go out. I don't know. Like, the problem for me with Cowan is that I think for the most part, he's playing really well. He's just making those like dumb decisions that are obviously causing momentum for the other team going the other way, or causing chances, I should say, for the other team going the other way sometimes. But I don't know. I don't have a problem really with Easton Cowan. I think that he could just not be put out there in some of these situations that are killing them, where it's like maybe late game he doesn't need to go out there, maybe defending a lead he doesn't need to be out there, but I don't really have a problem with him personally. I think he's been doing pretty well. I do agree with you that these mistakes need to chill out a bit, but at the same time, I will point to Max Domi, who on a power play is throwing cross-ice 4-foot-high sauce through like 17 bodies, trying to get it to nobody on the other side for no particular advantage. You know, he's a guy who makes those plays, and I'm not saying it's like an accountability thing. I'm just saying, or like, don't hold the guy accountable. I'm just saying you have other guys here who are doing a very similar thing, and we're not really sitting here looking at those guys saying sit them right now. I think he brings a lot of positive. I think he brings a lot of positive to that line and is a real good piece in it, but it's very evident in a game like this that the guy's got some work to do. You know, some of the penalties that he takes, the one late against Vegas, the one in the first period here tonight against Detroit, some of those need to be cleaned up. But I do think he has learned and been learning. It just needs to maybe be managed better by Berube. Maybe there's times where he could skip a shift or two when some of these moments do occur, because he did seem to learn from it when he got sat. But I do think that he does help this team more than he hurts them, and for that reason, I wouldn't sit him personally.
That's fair. I mean, I agree with a lot of the things you have to say, and maybe I'm judging him a little too harshly, but I don't see the harm in sitting a guy for one game. And the key to that is you let him know that it's just one game. Hey, you're going to sit this one out, catch your breath a little bit, take it in, watch from the press box, and then you're right back in there. Because, again, the way he was being handled earlier is not the way I want him to be handled, where he had no idea when he was going to get back in there. And we're sitting here like, hey, if you're not going to play him, send him down. So I don't want that either. Again, it does suck. I mean, if we're fully healthy, do you think he's in the lineup, or where is he in the lineup? If they're fully healthy, like if you have Dakota Joshua, if you have William Nylander, if you have everybody slotted where they should be, I don't know if he's even in there. So, I mean, it's tough either way. Maybe I'm judging him a little too harshly. Maybe I'm a little angry about the play in overtime right now still, but I don't think it would kill him to sit one.
Well, so in terms of them being healthy, it's a good point, and it's a good question, because to be honest with you, I don't know if he is. Obviously, I think he's a better player than Steven Lorentz, but if you bring back Dakota Joshua and you bring back William Nylander, two guys need to come out of this lineup right now. Is it Dakota Joshua who's taking Steven Lorentz's spot? I don't entirely know, and I think part of what the question becomes is, can Dakota Joshua kill penalties and eat up those minutes the way Lorentz does? Because that penalty kill with the two of them, Lorentz and Lawton, I mean, let's just call it what it is. It's fucking awesome. Like, that is a unbelievable penalty kill. And more times than not, they're actually turning defensive situations into offensive chances on the penalty kill, and that should be applauded. But it's a good point then. My thing would just be, that's a future issue. As of right now, he's got to be in this lineup, because I think he's the better option to be in this lineup. I do want to read some of these super chats that have come in and answer some of this stuff with you. Let's start with this one, because it's just what we've been talking about. Nick, I'm going to just say this wrong. I have no idea. Sorry, Nick. But he says, Nick Charenfant, 9944. Hopefully I said that right. He says, Easton Cowan needs to play smarter with and without the puck. It's been painfully frustrating to watch him take stupid penalties or turn the puck over. The one tonight, I'll give him a little leeway on the penalty. I know I just said it was bad, but it's bad because it's in the offense where you had a couple good chances from Detroit. You broke it up. You got up ice in transition. You go in on the forecheck. You just need to be aware of how aggressive you're being in there on that forecheck, because I think it was Rasmussen who he was battling against was pushing back on him probably equally as much. But in that situation, the ref is going to be more inclined to give the penalty to the offensive player who's breaking things up on the defense rather than the other way around. At least that's the way I see it. So he's got to be more aware there. But I don't think that that's like a prototypical like bad penalty. Like, the Vegas high stick, that's a bad penalty. In terms of his play away from the puck or without the puck, I actually don't think it's been that bad. Watching him in the cycle game, watching him get open and spread things out, I don't think he's been defensively liable. With the puck, I'm 100% with you, Nick, and I'm with you, Vic, in terms of it needs to be more responsible, because there's too many times where he's forcing something or not aware of his surroundings or just not used to how quickly guys can get on you in the NHL rather than in junior hockey, where they can close the gap, take away time and space. It's very different than what it was in junior, where, hey, maybe somebody takes a step towards you in junior and you've got an extra second to make that next pass or to make the next move, whereas in the NHL, you're playing against men, and a lot of these guys are not coming and playing in their first years like you are, so they're well aware and have been used to this speed and pace. They're just going to take you out physically and take away your space, like what Seider did in OT, so some of that situationally needs to be a lot better. But I mean, I do understand, like, he does need to play smarter. I'm not gonna disagree with that.
Okay, can I just say something here positive about Easton Cowan so everybody doesn't kill me?
Go ahead.
I'm not the most analytical guy. I don't do analytics. I don't go hunting for analytics, but we have Mike Kelly coming on Morning Cup of Hockey tomorrow. And so I was doing a little digging and whatever, going through some websites. On Money Puck, just click on the Leafs, go scrolling through. I'm looking at the lines, the best lines for the Toronto Maple Leafs, goals for, goals against. Easton Cowan, Nick Waugh, and Nick Robertson, 6 goals for, 0 goals against all season. So, I mean, he's doing
really
something
good.
Right.
Yeah,
They're doing something right. I know some of that's going to be like, I don't know, maybe the goalie's hot when you're in there, but maybe you're not allowing grade A's when those 3 are out there together as well. So I don't know. I know some of that has to be luck, because I did see a couple of big Joseph Wall saves today while those 3 were on the ice. But again, he's got to be doing something right with those 2 guys. It's just a matter of, like, I just need him to I don't know, maybe not make the same mistake twice. I think that's what it is the offensive zone penalty against Vegas that got them back into the game, and then 2 games later you do it again. I don't want to see that anymore. This isn't a development league. This is like every point is critical right now, and you're hurting the team. I can't have that. We can't have that. Love the guy. Again, I'm not trying to run him out of town. I don't know. I'm like here talking in circles. Like, I loved him a second ago. Now I hate him. I know. I'm just going through it. I'm an emotional Leaf fan, but fuck, man, you can't have the same mistakes. I don't mind seeing mistakes from a young guy.
That's fair.
Like, it's gonna happen. I don't want to see the same ones.
That's fair. And the stat you just read is why I kind of disagree with Nick there, where yes, with the puck, I think he's got to be better and more responsible. Without the puck, I can't really complain. That line has been really good. They generate a lot. I just think Easton Cowan has had times where he has broken up a play or ended an offensive zone possession with a dumb pass or a play that shouldn't have been made.
We're not knocking the offense. We're not knocking the defense. It's that split second, the split second decisions where he's got to make the choice here and there is where he seems to be struggling right now. And it seems to be, I mean, he's a rookie. Like, the game's coming at him faster than it ever has. So again, I get it, but yeah, go ahead, Zach.
I'm reading some of the Instagram chats, which has been something I've been trying to do more recently. Okay. This guy, Nigel Paul, he shows up every single post game and just absolutely puts Max Domi on blast. But this is the first one that I've seen that hasn't been a Max Domi rip. He actually says, and I want to see your reaction to this. So I'm going to read it. Ready? Berube should be coach of the year. This team is very bad, and he's got them hanging around.
That's one way to look at it, man. Where do you put him in the Jack Adams?
I'm not even going to comment on that. I just want to read it. Another super chat here. Maxentius Decimus. This one I disagree with, but I want to know where you're at. I have 13.25 million reasons why Cowan isn't why we lost.
You want to blame Auston Matthews for that loss?
I can't do that. I know that he didn't score, but this is not a blame Auston Matthews night for me. Look, dude, I know that the guy's paid 13.25. I know he's supposed to be, I put that very clearly, supposed to be a prolific scorer in the NHL. But he can't score every single night. And to that point, I thought he played fucking unreal tonight, to be completely honest with you. I thought he was really good, especially offensively in this game. He was creating chances. He was taking one-timers. He was making things happen. He was attacking guys one-on-one. He was trying to get to the middle of the ice. Reach brought up the one chance that he would have liked to see him shoot instead of try to make a move to get to the middle more. But, I mean, outside of that, pretty much all night, there was nothing he did where I said, why are you doing that? Why is that the play? Why is that the decision? His hands look good. His shot looked good. I just thought John Gibson had a really good night, and I'm not trying to make excuses because I'm not gonna let the team off the hook for getting goalied tonight. Use that loosely, but I'm not gonna let the team off the hook for that. They needed to come through and score. You just have to. But Auston Matthews to me was very, very good in this one, and it's not an excuse on my behalf. That's not what I'm trying to do, but. Again, to put the blame on him, I think is completely inaccurate.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, and I love Max, but God, I can't disagree more. If you could just dial that wrister up a little bit, it looked like it was slightly off today. He missed the one far side on the power play, then he missed the one in overtime where he turned his back. I thought he made an excellent play to move Gibson right and shoot left, and he barely missed that one as well. I don't know how you blame Auston Matthews for this one. I could blame a billion other guys for this. I could blame the Oliver Ekman-Larsson injury in the first period where 5 guys are trying to – I mean, you got to play the whole game shorthanded. That's tough in itself. I mean, there's plenty of blame to go around. Can you pinpoint a single, a mistake he made that cost them the game, or he missed a couple wristers on the power play, but I don't know. I can't think of anything else. Yeah. Look, the getting goalied stuff I hate, because getting goalied happens a lot to this team, especially in the playoffs, because they don't get to the grimy, dirty areas and get the stinky ones, right? That happens a lot. We've seen it a lot, especially a lot more in the past. I thought they did a better job of it last season in the postseason, where they were grinding. We're not going to talk about how they got eliminated, but again, I feel like this team is better suited to play these ugly games, but get the grimy ones. And I don't know. It's just you have a guy in John Tavares who's a little bit. I think he's lost a step. I think we can see that. Maybe he'll find it again, because we do see this pretty much every year. Nyes isn't the same, where you're getting the dirty ones. Dakota Joshua's out of the lineup, where he's another guy that gets the dirty ones. So a lot of these, again, it sounds like I'm making excuses. I'm not, but this is the reality of the situation. The guys that get your dirty goals aren't getting you the dirty ones, and then you get a game like tonight where you can't finesse one into the back of the net.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. They do have the guys on this team to do that and get the dirty ones. So, I mean, the problem is that you got to get to the playoffs, and that's just not where you're at right now. You're not in a position to comfortably say that and be like, well, when you get there, you can have this. No. It's if you get there, and that's what sucks. But, yeah, I mean, again, looking at the standings right now, you're 1 point back of Boston, who you played the same amount of games as. You're 2 points back of the Sabres, who have one game in hand on you. It's just, it sucks. It's good to get points. I got no problem with that. I'm not trying to poo-poo getting to overtime, and it's against a team that's tied for first in the Atlantic Division, and in fact tied for first in the Eastern Conference in a 3-way tie with Carolina and Tampa, with the Detroit Red Wings now sitting at 66 points. But dude, you had an opportunity here in this one where I thought you played better. You had one mental lapse at the end of the first period, and I point to Jake McCabe on that one, who, again, we don't have to rehash it. Reach talked about it. I talked about it, but he hasn't played that well over the last little while. And then there's one where it just pops up. It's a bad read at a bad time. He makes a mistake, and then it lets the Red Wings get in on a 3-on-1, and they score on an offensive zone draw of all things. It's a frustrating one all the way around. But again, I mean, Max, sorry, dude. I cannot blame Auston Matthews. Let's rattle off some more super chats here. Cass RWR 8865. Hey, bro, what's your height, weight, age, and religion? I think that was to me before you got on. Do I even answer this? Like, what the hell?
For what? Is he cloning you or something?
Yeah, I don't know. You trying to square me up? Like, what is going on? Anyways.
The religion one's an odd one.
Yeah, the religion one really threw me for a loop. If it was just the first three, it would have been like, all right. The religion
maybe he's
off.
trying to fight you or something. Yeah, but the religion one is like, I don't know.
Tammy says Lawton being too cute on the penalty sealed their fate tonight. Would be a different show had he not wafted on that chance. I mean, again, like I don't blame Scott Lawton for the loss. I do agree with Vic though in what he said, where it was just like it's like a oxygen sucker in the arena, on your couches, probably potentially on the bench as well, where it's just if he doesn't score and he gets a shot off or whatever, it is what it is. But to have that happen, you're kind of like, that sucks. Like, we didn't even get the chance there. So, I mean, yeah, it's unfortunate, but to say it sealed their fate, I don't know. Like, that's not the reason that they lost. Definitely not. Huggies are, Sidney Crosby isn't as good as you claim. Come on, Zach. I think Sidney Crosby is actually probably even better than I claim, to be honest with you. So, fair.
Yeah, the thing with Sidney Crosby missing or mishandling the puck on a shootout deke is the fact that I don't mind Sidney Crosby trying to make a deke on the shootout. That's why that doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
It's when Scott Lawton's trying to pull a deke on the penalty shot, and you're like, what are you doing? That's not your game. Don't do that. That's why that bothered me.
I wanted the slap shot. I wanted to see the slap shot. He did comment on it post-game.
I wanted the fake slap shot. I wanted the fake slap shot.
Have you ever seen Matt Hendricks, the paralyzer? Have you ever seen that?
No, I haven't.
Okay, after this show tonight, when everyone gets off and finishes watching the show and calling in and all that stuff.
I'm going to watch it right now.
Okay, watch, or if you have a second screen, watch. It's called Matt Hendricks, the paralyzer. It's my favorite shootout move of all time. It is the greatest shootout move, and if anybody could pull it off, it's definitely Scott Lawton. More super chats to read here while Vic watches that, and as he should. Zach Green says, disagree. Chief should have rested 23, in my opinion. Well, like, I think personally that this is my you like that goal, eh? You like the Matt Hendricks paralyzer? Yeah, it's sick. Okay. I'm purely speculating. Like, this is not any information or anything, and the way they talk about things is very it can be very clouded at times, where it's not that easy to determine what they're talking about. But I am under the impression that Matthew Nyes and the team and the medical staff here in Toronto have all come to the conclusion that him playing cannot make the injury worse. It can't make the injury better, and by playing, it will not get better, but it won't get worse, if that makes sense. Like, it is currently at the worst that it can get. Just by playing, it's not going to get worse and going to negatively impact him down the line. Like, I don't think that that's the case. I think that's why he's allowed to play. I think that's why he's choosing to play. I think that this is up to him, where he's saying, I can go, I can play, I want to play, and the medical staff is saying he can't get worse than what he's dealing with, so it's fine if he wants to play, and that's why he's out there. I think by the time he gets to the Olympic break and he gets that rest, that's the way he's looking at this and being like, I can get to that, I can play through to that, and then by the time I get through the break, when we come back, I'm refreshed and I can help this team. And to be quite honest with you, I think if we didn't have the presence of, or I think if we didn't have the precedent of how Matthew Nyes plays at 100% health, or like the contract attached to him, we'd all look at Matthew Nyes and be like, this is a good player who's still playing well. But knowing what he can do is what's frustrating, because you're like, this is a player not playing to his potential. But otherwise, like, I don't think he's hurting the team is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, well, all I could think about while you were saying that is that I think Nick has said it. I don't know if he's got it from a source or not, but there has been a little bit of talk that he's playing through something in case there's an injury to someone on the Olympic team, and he wants to be a reserve for that.
Yes.
If that's the case, one, before I get your response to that, if that's the case, Jason Robertson's going before you. Cole Caulfield's probably going before you. Maybe Alex DeBrinket's going before you. Maybe Patrick Kane's going before you just as a legacy. Like, here you go. You're not, I don't think, even on the fucking radar. And if that's, like, I think the only way Matthew Knies was making the Olympic team is if he was where Macklin Celebrini is in the scoring race. Like, I don't think he has a shot in hell of being an injury replacement. So if the Olympics is the reason why he's playing through this shit, then he needs to cut that shit out. Thoughts?
I will disagree with you because look who just got selected to the Olympic team in replacement of Seth Jones when Adam Fox and Lane Hudson were sitting there. I think Bill Guerin is looking for a specific type of player. And I wonder if there's been some type of communication to suggest that he could. I'm not saying next, but I'm saying that he could be amongst it. And he's a guy who could be around. So that's what I would say. Like, I think in Canada, if Canada was dropping guys, there's probably a pretty clear pecking order of guys that you would probably call. Sam Bennett and Seth Jarvis, I think, are the first guys. Mark Scheifele, then a little bit down the list. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if Billy G is looking for a guy like Matthew Knies to be on that team if something did happen. So that's just my speculation based on what we just saw of them taking Jackson Lacombe when Hudson and Adam Fox were sitting there. That's just, it's an opinion. Look, it's not any information that I have.
And again, I'm not saying this is why he's playing. This is just things. Again, Alberga knows a whole hell of a lot more than I do, and he said it on Leafs Morning Take, which I produce. I've heard it before. I've heard that's why he's trying to gut through this, is to make a spot on the Olympics. He must be like hovering around the top of the list for Bill Guerin. So I don't know. You think he's closer than I do, I guess, because I don't think there's a shot in hell that he's on that team.
I'm just saying that I was surprised that Jackson Lacombe was the one selected. I'm not saying he's a bad player or anything. I'm just saying I was surprised that he was the one who got thrown in. So I wouldn't be surprised to that extent if Knies was the guy. We did put the call line into the chat. If people want to call in and start loading in, get in there. It's pinned at the top. Vic, I don't know if you want to take calls with me tonight. That's up to you if you want to.
I'll take a couple before wifey gets upset.
Okay. Keep hitting that like button. Subscribe here to the channel. There's 77 likes here right now, but 300 people watching. So subscribe, Leafs Nation 401. Turn on notifications and hit that like button. In a moment here, I will take calls. I just want to read a couple more of these super chats. Zach Green says, if the Leafs lose the next 2 games, then they might have to consider getting a first back. Lawton might be that chip. What do you think? Like, yes, sure, but at the same time, context. Like, if the Leafs lose the next 2 and also Boston and also Buffalo do, and other teams around you drop a couple, like, and you're 1 point out. I'm not saying, oh, wow, the season's still alive, like, go for it. But I'm just saying the GM is going to look at that and be like, we're still there. We can still do this. So that's where I would disagree. It's context. But if they drop a couple and the gap opens up, like you lose to Vegas in regulation on Friday, you lose to Buffalo on Tuesday, or Colorado on Sunday in reg, you lose to Buffalo on Tuesday, and you're dropping points like crazy, yes, the conversation starts to change. And that's why I have been holding strong on the idea of wait this out until the Olympics, see where you are at, and then let's figure things out from there. If you're going to make any type of move and it's like short term and it doesn't hurt you in the long run, i.e. prospects or high-end picks or whatever, okay, maybe you have to make that because you're dealing with so many injuries and you need to plug a hole literally for the sake of like, we need to finish this season and we don't want fucking Phil Myers out there for 18 minutes a night. Sure, I got no problem with that, but I'm not going gung-ho one way or the other until I see where I'm at the Olympic break and out of the Olympic break. Because the other point here, Vic, is what happens if William Nylander goes to the Olympics, plays through this injury, and it gets worse, or he gets hurt again, or what, name your scenario. Like, that's scary to me. So I think you have some opportunity to take a break and see where you're at by the end of it. But I don't panic, smash this right now.
I don't think they make a single decision before literally the day of the trade deadline. Zach, we are talking about losing the next two and then selling Scott Laughton for a first-round pick. I'm saying this now because if they lose the next two and you ask me on the night of the second loss if they should trade Scott Laughton, I'm probably going to say yes. But I'm saying this now. What if they win the next two? Does that mean we're mortgaging the future for the to make a playoff run? Like, why the next two? Why is it the next two? The next two doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah.
So is anyone offering you a first-round pick for Scott Laughton?
Honestly, like,
9 points this year. Like, I love him to death. Super happy to have him here. Hometown guy. Yeah. Great in the locker room. I know that, but is anyone giving you a first for that guy?
I don't know. I'm not going to say yes, but I wouldn't be surprised if teams get horny, especially at the deadline. I'm not going to say now, but at the deadline.
First, Zach, and then you sign him in the offseason because that happens all the fucking time, right?
There's teams hovering. on Scott Laughton. All right, here we go. Cass followed up and said, sorry if it was intrusive. I love this channel. Not intrusive. I was just confused. I kind of thought it was like a bot question or something. I don't even know. Like, I'm pretty sure I've been pretty clear with this. I'm like 5'10", 27 years old. We'll leave it at that. I don't know.
I'm 6'4", 230.
Yeah. Kilo James, this channel is the reason we lost today. This fuck Kilo, man. He's always in here just fucking going back and forth with me, this guy. All right, Vic, I think this is something everybody should experience here on the channel. We've got callers on the line, and I want you to be here for this one. So with that, we're going to welcome in our first caller of the show here tonight. Let's welcome Prague. Prague, what's up, buddy?
Oh, I didn't expect an early call. Sorry. Let me
I got to get you in here while Vic's on, bro. I got to get Vic the Prague experience.
Okay, so where do we start? I think this is 50 games down, 62.5% of the season over. I have no problem with our forwards, but our defense, every year, every game, we're seeing a different defense who are younger, faster, better, hungrier, and we get Rielly playing 20 minutes. Yes, OEL's down, but what was the excuse every other time? Like, I'm just sick of it. We have Cowan, who's got three games in a row with 3 offensive zone penalties.
I thought you just said that we weren't with the forwards are okay.
Yes, but some of them need to be, potty trained, because he's top 25 in games in points per 60 among rookies, 3rd among Leaf rookies. Minton is ahead. He's playing center.
Why the Minton comparison though? What does that
because
matter?
He was one of our picks.
Okay, I get that, but he's not here now. Like he's not playing over Fraser Minton. I get the context of like he's not here anymore, and like we're pissed about that. That's fair.
I'll give you context. Please, just give me a second. Name a rookie that has played with 2 prior first overall picks, a guy who scored 60 goals twice, our best player who's currently injured and going to play for Team Sweden in Nylander. It's not Matthews. He doesn't show up in the playoffs. I'm sorry. That's fucking done. Um, so like I'm just saying, what are we waiting for? Are we waiting for the trade deadline? Are we waiting for the Olympics? Let's say Matthews gets hurt. Nylander gets injured worse. Oyel gets injured worse. Like, what are we waiting for?
Can I ask you something here, Prague?
Yes.
What are we waiting for what? Like, what do you want them to do?
Retool, just like Washington did, just like a lot of teams have. Washington did a retool where they traded a first and Gustafsson for Sandin and picked Ryan Leonard, Ilya Protas, Alexi's brother, and some guy named Lane Hudson's brother called Cole, who's tearing it up in NCAA. Okay?
Okay, so you're saying what are they waiting for? Start rebuilding now before the trade deadline. Get ahead of it.
I mean, before the Olympics, we are okay. What happens if we are still fighting for a playoff spot and one of our key players gets injured? Or Nye's injury is actually worse because our freaking medical staff is shit. As a doctor, I'm just saying it seems like it's shit. But like, what are we playing for? Because like teams are already trading players. Marchman got a second and fourth. He had like 2 points on the season. And that was in like what, December, November? He had 2 points in the season. He's still not doing that great in Columbus or wherever he went. But like I love Cowan. I want him to be the monster he was in the OHL in the NHL. And there's certain players who need time in playing against men, whether it's NCAA, because a lot of players are 23, 24 there, or the AHL. So the reason is I look at even men played a little bit, but like a lot of the players who are doing well, who are similar age, either they're more talented or they played against men in the NCAA. So,
but I don't think there's a problem with him learning to play against men in the NHL, especially if your idea is for this team to retool.
But it's not
What's
a developmental league.
It is now. It is now. I strongly disagree with you now. Look at how
Under
the league is
Berube,
being...
Berube's a teacher.
Okay, so you just said the league, and now you're saying under Berube. Those are different things. I mean, sure,
I'm
but...
already seeing Louis. So okay, anyway, go ahead, please.
Okay, my point is that I think that the two things you're saying, if you're going to say let's retool and let's get rid of guys and get into a better position here, then why would you not have your young guys playing in the NHL? That's what you constantly say you want anyways. You want to give your young guys a chance, and you're always so pissed that they don't give young guys a chance. Well, you're giving a young guy a chance right now, and the young guy you're giving the chance to, you're saying don't play him. I would argue that some of the young guys they brought up previously didn't perform as well as Easton Cowan has. I'm not disagreeing that he's making some rookie mistakes, some young mistakes, but they didn't perform as well, and they didn't get the minutes, they didn't get the opportunities, and they went back down. So I don't know, like I don't have a problem with him being here. I agree with you guys that he's making mistakes, but I don't think this needs to be send him to the AHL. You can't have him do this, especially the way the NHL is played right now and treated right now. Young guys get an opportunity the second they step out of the junior programs they're in, the NCAA programs they're in effectively, and there is a big learning period with these guys into the NHL. You can see it all around the league with these young guys, especially who are considered high-end prospects. So I think it is far more of a developmental league than what it used to be. I would agree with you previously. I don't think that's the case anymore. Vic?
And can I just chime in here? Prague, you want them to rebuild, retool. Do you think, like, first of all, what the fuck are they trading away? Like, I know Max Domi is your favorite guy in the world, but
he's not my favorite guy. I just said put him in the right place, put him on, instead of moving him around like 50 places, playing him at center, I said play him on wing. That's all I said.
I got you.
I defended Max Domi because he played, he had 52 points in his rookie season as a 20-year-old playing on the Coyotes. Who was number one on that year? OEL. He had 53 points. And he was not even playing 14 minutes a game. So my question to you, Prague, is, do you think this team is bad enough right now
even after whatever the hell you're trading away, to completely bottom out. Because what you're saying is if you're stripping pieces off of this roster where they are right now, you realize that guy you love, Fraser Minton, the team he's on, they have our first round pick again. You need to be really, really, really fucking careful about when you sell. That's why time is the Leafs' best friend here. Yeah, well, that's why time is your best friend.
No,
that's why, because you need to accrue as many points as you possibly fucking can with the roster that they have right now, because bottoming out right now doesn't get you shit. In fact, it gets your biggest rival in the division a fucking really, really high first round pick. No matter what they do, Matthew's not going anywhere. William Nylander is not going anywhere. Those goalies that we have are not going anywhere. And Jake McCabe is not going anywhere. So whatever the hell else you want to move, or whatever the hell else you think you're going to move, it doesn't matter, because those guys will still be here. Matthew Nyes is not going anywhere. This team won't be bad enough to get into the bottom 5 and get and keep the pick. You need to be really, really careful about selling off too early, because then you're fucked. Like, you're completely fucked once again.
Okay. Let me ask you, how are we not fucked now?
Well, you're 1 point out of a playoff spot.
I'm 1 point out of a playoff spot. Wunderbar. And then, like, we just lost OEL today. And possibly, we don't know, it could be day to day for the next 6 years. Right? He's turning what? He's turning 35 or 36 next year, whatever he is, in 2026. Or, sorry, 2026 is this year. But, like, you know what I mean? He's turning 35, I think. We wait until the last minute in every situation. We're not proactive. We do nothing. Like, instead of thinking clearly and having long-term goals, we are always thinking short-term. People will say Detroit is not ready. I'm sorry. Yes, they don't have a Matthews level player. They might have a Nylander, like Raymond, pretty close to a Nylander level player. He's definitely better than, they're both better than Marner. But like, look at their defense. Look at the depth. Look at their pick. Look at the prospect pool that they have going. And
so you're saying you would rather be them? They haven't made the playoffs since fucking they got a new arena. They haven't made the playoffs since 2016, I think. Like, would you rather be them? And would you rather be them, really? Look how long that took. Look, and they're still not even a lock. Like, yes, they're playing really well.
What we've made the playoffs 9 seasons in a row.
Correct.
And we've won, like I told him, we've won less series than the Canucks. And the Canucks were closer to winning the second round in 2024.
Well, they both went to Game 7.
Yes. But we went to Game 5 and we went to Game 7. And Game 7, really, we only scored 6 out of the Florida one scored 18 goals after Game 3. And
Prague, you're telling me over the last 10 fucking years, you would rather be a Detroit Red Wings fan than a Toronto Maple Leaf fan. Is that what you're telling me? Because if that's what you're telling me, you're crazy.
Dude, you're if you want to straw man me, then straw man me. You're already straw manning me right now. I'm saying, I'm looking at
Okay, but this doesn't answer any questions, though, Prague. Like, honestly,
just make them like if
I think this team is better suited to make a playoff push or do anything in the playoffs if they can get there than a team that we've had previously, especially considering the way Auston Matthews is playing, the way William Nylander is playing when he's healthy. The goaltending that you can get on any given night. I don't think that Brandon Carlo is as bad as people have made him out to seem. Jake McCabe is playing well. He's on a bad stretch right now, but I think he'll get it back. Oliver Ekman-Larsson has been very, very good this season. I think the depth you have with these guys, I think the fact that you can come at each team when waves with the lines you have 1 through 4, I think you have a lot of opportunity here to do some type of damage in the playoffs. And I think if you're in a favorable playoff position, if you can go, or if you're in up playoff position in general, and you can go and add some type of piece to help you. It doesn't have to be a big piece. It doesn't have to be going crazy at the deadline. But if you can add a piece to help you solidify what you already have, I think you're in a much better spot. Like, you're doing this right now with no Dakota Joshua, no William Nylander consistently, John Tavares, who's very clearly slowing down because of the season that you're having right now, the injury to Matthew Nyes, no Chris Tanev, and yet you're still racking up points since December 23rd to get yourself to 1 point out of the playoffs. Losses like this are frustrating for sure, but I'm with people on that, but I still looked at this team and the way they played tonight, and they played really well against the number one team in the Eastern Conference in the Atlantic Division, or the team that's tied there at minimum points-wise, and they went to overtime against them. I'm not trying to play moral victory guy here, but you did do that. You did do that. So to suggest that this team is a bad team and whatever, I think that that's completely false.
I'm not saying that. Okay, go ahead, please. Sorry.
And I just don't think that I don't think it makes sense to be sitting here like complaining over and over and over again and having the same conversations about like what the team has done in the last 10 years and all that stuff. Like, we're focused on the team right now. I get that it's stuff that hurts and it sucks to have looking back at it in the past, but we're not doing that. We're doing game by game, and we're trying to break things down this season. I'm not looking at the body of work from the past 3 GMs before to determine what should happen tomorrow morning. I don't give a fuck about that. And I think that this team could be still in a playoff position by the Olympic break. Obviously, this hurts tonight, losing this extra point, but you can still get there. You have some important games coming up. Like, why is it just throw in the towel right now? That's what I completely disagree with. And I think to throw in the towel after what your team has done to get you to this point right now, I think that can potentially just shatter the room. Look what happened with the New York Rangers when they just discarded Trouba and Goudreau and Kreider. And I'm not saying those guys didn't need to go, but the handling of that situation went sideways fast, and the guys in that room soured. So how do you know that going into the next week, if you're 1 point out of a playoff spot, trading Scott Laughton and Oliver Ekman-Larsson and Jake McCabe or whoever the hell else it is that you want to put on that list that you're going to send out the door, doesn't negatively impact the outlook of Auston Matthews and William Nylander going forward with this team? Because I think that's something you have to weigh in all of this as well. If the team is 6 points out of the playoffs by the next week and a half, or 2 weeks when you go to the Olympic break, no problem, man. That's a different conversation. And I think if you sit down with Matthews and Nylander and Tavares and you explain to them, this is what's going on, this is what we're going to do, that's a different conversation. But to go into there after a game like this and say, hey, I'm done, you guys are out of here, it's over, we're trading guys, that's when you get to the point where you're like, fuck this, I don't want to be in Toronto anymore, I don't want to be a part of this. And then that retool you're talking about, it very quickly changes from retool to rebuild, and that's a different conversation to be having. And if that's the direction you want to head, sure, but I think by trading guys off now to do a retool, I think that is a problem.
Can I come in now, Jack? Can I come in now? Okay, so you're going to tell me John Tavares, who took a sweetheart deal, is going to leave. William Nylander, who's made for this fucking market, is going to leave. He has 7 more years on his deal. What are you bloody talking about? I'm talking about the defense, man. You mocked me for saying this was the deepest forward group ever. I said I like.
No, I didn't. Dude. I did
not
not ever mock you for that. No, I didn't. You are such an idiot, dude. I never did that.
You mocked me for
I never fucking did that. Not once.
Basically, all on our right side except for Stetcher. But anyways, let's go.
I never mocked you on the forwards. I literally was one of the people. Vic can attest. I was here from the beginning saying that this was the deepest forward group that they have. Every show that I've done, I've said this is the deepest forward group.
Anyways, let's continue. So you think everybody's going to leave if we retool this season, and you think I'm saying sell everybody, and everybody's going to leave because, oh my god, dude. They've gone through 9 seasons of losing. I understand the leafiest thing to do is we end up 16th and win 10. We win the thing and we win the lottery and go up 10 spots.
Yeah. Look,
So
I'm just saying.
I
I'm
don't
just
give a
saying, if
shit
you
about
go
that.
into that room after
if
this,
Boston wants
and
a-
after
a
what they've
center,
done
if
to
Boston
battle
wants a depth
themselves
center,
back, I'm saying if you
I'll
go into
trade him
this
for a
looking at
first.
where
I'll
you're
do
at
it just for
after
the
you've
first to get
battled
ours
yourself
fucking back.
into this spot,
Can I finish,
that
Zach?
can
I
shatter
finish?
the room.
Zach, can I finish, please?
Dude, you
Okay.
never finish. You have a
Dude,
point that goes into
did I
another point that
interrupt
goes
you?
into
You
another
spoke for
point
like
that goes
5
into.
minutes.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you
And you
did.
strawman me. Then I apologized and I waited, didn't I? So let me finish. So what we're doing is, do players get injured in the Olympics?
Yes.
Is any of our players, Olympic players, injured right now?
Yes, one of them is. We know that.
And
I
why
said
is
that.
Nyes playing when he's a game time decision 2 games in a row? If we're worried about winning, shouldn't we want to win it? Have him ready, even if he's an Olympic call up. He's not going to be an Olympic call up if he's injured, and of course, we're not going to win if he's playing like how he has. He had 1 shot today on goal, and that was the only time you saw him after he came back.
Oh, he's
from the
not a
dump or
negative
whatever.
to this team. Even how he's playing right now, he's more effective than a Calle Yarncroke or a Jacob
Am I comparing
Quillen.
him to Young Kirk, or are you just putting words in my mouth? I'm saying I want him healthy.
Why would you not have?
If we're going for a run, then I want him healthy. But the thing is, he's not healthy. Sit him. Get him healthy. He said more time will take it. I already have given up on this season because I don't see, like with our defense, I don't see how we're going to go anywhere.
Okay.
We're playing.
Okay.
I'll bet you anything that Myers is going to come in instead of Benning, who's played 500 NHL games.
All right.
We have Villeneuve.
Yeah.
We have Quillen. We have a lot of other players. I know you didn't
Right.
watch Quillen beat Nyes in the what's it called, Frozen 4 or the final.
That's where
I
we're
did.
going now.
I did actually. I
Okay,
did.
sure. Okay. And then
Okay.
if you who have they tried that's a rookie other than Quillen for 8 minutes in 2 or 3 games? Honestly.
Easton fucking Cowan.
Easton
and you
Cowan,
wanna
the guy
bench
that
him.
you're saying going to the
Yeah,
AHL.
but Cowan is like 22nd or 25th in points.
Okay,
for a
but
rookie.
do you understand if you're advocating for bringing in more rookies? You want to play Jacob Quillen more.
Rookies
You understand
who've already killed it in the AHL or played against men.
I understand, but he's going to make mistakes as well. Do you think he's going to come in there and just be an NHL?
You know what?
pro
I enjoyed
right
the
away?
mistake tonight. That didn't make a difference because we're playing an Eastern Conference team and we are in the Western Conference, obviously. When he gave the 3 games in a row,
You're
five
advocating
or
for
six of the
bringing
last 9
another
done
rookie
penalties.
into the lineup, dude.
3 last games in a row were offensive zone penalties. Last game was second period. This game was first period. 3 games ago it was the third period.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
You want to give him up? Like nobody else in this world. If Nylander did that as a rookie, he was sacked. But if it was Marner, if it was Matthews, or a Cowan is not that special player yet. I want him to be the best he can be. I don't want him to become what the New York Rangers do, is play their players. Look at Kakko.
Okay.
Look at Lafreniere. Look at all the Pratsov or whoever they have. They never developed because they played them right away in the NHL.
Okay.
As
I
soon as
don't
their
think
junior
that's why.
players are
But
done.
Prague, appreciate the call tonight.
But
Thank
I
you, man.
appreciate you guys, but you can make fun of me all you want and the texting back and forth, but I appreciate you guys and thank you so much for letting me talk to Vic and you together.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you,
for
Prague.
Fine.
Thank you, Prague.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Prague. There you go. Prague on the line.
Zach, can I just chime in here?
Yeah.
One thing that
Yeah.
that we don't really. I mean, I don't want to turn this into a big picture thing. The one thing that does worry me about this is having if you miss the playoffs, you're probably losing your job running the organization right now. So that part does scare me.
Yes.
I'm not an advocate of buying for the sake of buying and giving up the Danfords, the Cowans to try to make the playoffs this year.
Yes.
I think it's more of a sit the fuck down and see how this goes. I'm literally all in on whatever is in the room. Like no one's coming in to help you and no one's leaving. Like these are the guys. This is what we're going with and you move forward. I hope we don't see some desperate ass let's buy for the sake of buying and try to sneak into wildcard 2. That's my biggest fear of this season. I'd rather miss the playoffs with what's in the room right now. But that's about it.
No, I'm with you. I agree. Like that's why I look at the Rasmus Anderson thing and the Leafs being in on that one, and I'm like, My problem with that is, does Rasmus Andersson guarantee that you're going to just go on some run and get yourselves into a comfortable wild card spot or like sniffing at a bottom Atlantic spot? I don't necessarily think so. Like, I think he helps you, but is it enough to, like in baseball, they do WAR, wins above replacement. Is Rasmus Andersson's WAR, if you're just going to like, it's not the exact same, but I'm just saying in general, is his WAR enough to calculate this is how many games you're going to win because of Rasmus Andersson? I think he helps you a lot, don't get me wrong, but is it worth going nuts and trading away the future picks and prospects that you have to go and get that guy? No, I would rather do some light patchwork on this if that's the case, i.e. Luke Shen, i.e., I don't even know who the guy is that's out there that's available, but like some depth piece or whatever that could help you rather than going crazy and trying to add shit. And the other part of this all is just my point on this is you're sitting 1 point out of a playoff spot. 3 games ago or whatever, you were in a playoff spot. I don't think this team has played bad hockey over the last week outside of the Utah game. I think they've had bad moments that have come back and killed them, and that's what frustrates me. But, the thing that drives me nuts with the Prague conversation, Vic, which I'm sure you see, and you got it to experience that at the end, is we need to play our rookies, so we should send down Easton Cowan to make room for them. What? That's where I can't do that.
Yeah, I don't really understand that. It's God, I'm getting real Martin Marincin vibes with Philip Myers right now too. Like just thinking about tonight's game, like where you think you finally got rid of him, and then OEL goes down, and now guess who's back? Probably playing. Yeah, it's just like you can't get rid of this guy.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to another caller here. I want you to be a part of one more, and then I'll let you go. Let's welcome to the program here our guy, JD Anderson Comedy. JD, what's up, buddy? Welcome to the After Dark Show.
Oh,
what's up, buddy?
God. Hey, guys. How's it going? Producer Vic.
Good,
this
man.
is cool. How much do you guys regret reversing that lifetime ban on Frog right now?
Hey,
oh my fucking God.
We let it cool off for a bit. We let him back on. He called in the other day. I thought, okay, he's in the chat. He's in here right now. Vic can experience the prognosis of the team right now. So let Vic get that experience under his belt.
It's like that prostate exam. You just gotta fucking experience it once in life, I guess, right?
Yeah, I don't know if Vic's gonna do that one again, but
you know it's gonna be really unpleasant, but it's just gotta happen.
Yeah. The good thing is it can't get any worse, JD. So you got a low bar to step over, buddy.
What'd you think of this game tonight, JD? What'd you think?
Oh, brutal. It was interesting. Yeah, it was. It was pretty back and forth. I was impressed by some of the effort. I was unimpressed by some of the effort. It was so leafy. It's just the typical shit. You could kind of script it. I don't know about you guys, when I was watching it, I could kind of feel those ebbs and flows, and I'm like, yeah, I know what's gonna happen. They're looking great. They come out all guns blazing and stuff. I'm like, yeah, I hate to be the negative Nancy, but it's a matter of time until they fucking blow this. And of course, 17 seconds in the first, they just choke-a-thon. And then as soon as it got to OT, yeah, I mean, you just know, you just have that feeling of doom and gloom being a fan of this fucking team. You know it's coming and you hope it's not, but it's like the Prague thing. You know it's coming, you hope it's not. But whatever. Glass half full, we got a point. Glass half empty. This was I don't know if you read, but on your before show, I did a little comment on it type thing, and I put like this, like the Minnesota game. Everybody says it's a quote unquote scheduled loss. This should have been a scheduled win. I mean, this was, if you're gonna say must win, where we're sitting in the standings, we just got gifted this miracle that every other team around us in the standings that could have leapfrogged us and put us in the fucking dust, they all lose. So there's your opening, there's your opportunity. All you got to do is just not choke. And of course, there we go. You know, the same old leafy shit. So I don't know, man. It's just, this team is so physically, emotionally, whatever, everything exhausting. I just feel fucking beat tonight. I mean, if I had a bottle beside me, I'd be half done it by now.
Fair. I mean, like, look, Vic, I'll give this to you in 1 second, Dad. I've said this before, like, it's tough on this post game tonight. It's tough in this game because I think in any other year or in any other situation, I probably walk away saying, hey, good game, got a point, lost an OT, bad mistake, move on. We take the point and we keep it going. But you're not in a top 3 Atlantic spot. You're not leading the division. You're not a top team in the conference. You're fighting for a playoff spot. And as you pointed out, Alberga said the other day, and he's right, but it's frustrating, is like the Minnesota game, everyone around you lost. So you had a chance there to make up some ground. But he's like, oh, you know what? Like, you lost, so did everyone else, so it's not that bad. And it's like, yes, at the same time, everyone else lost. You could have jumped some people here in this. And then to the point that Riccio was making when he came on earlier is, you could have kind of, I'm going to say close the gap loosely because they're still farther ahead of you, but you could have closed the gap per se on the Detroit Red Wings with a regulation win tonight. It takes 2 points away from them. It gives you 2 points, and it keeps you kind of in the hunt, let's say, on an Atlantic Division spot, and then you give a point to them by going to OT, and then you give the extra point to them by going to by losing to them in OT. It's like, it's just that much more frustrating given the opponent, giving the context. It sucks, Vic. It sucks right now to lose these games, even though I don't think that they played a poor game.
Yeah, and the power play looked good again. Let's hammer through some quick positives. Power play looked really good.
Yes.
Generated a shit ton of chances. I loved how it looked again. I loved the movement. The Tavares tip, I still can't believe it didn't go. And Joseph Wall is back. He had 2 of probably the worst games I've seen him play as a Toronto Maple Leaf. Let's not count that Florida series, please. We'll wipe that from the memory. But other than that, he had back-to-back 2 of the worst games he's played as a Toronto Maple Leaf. He was unbelievable, and he would have been the story of the game had Easton Cowan not tripped over and vomited all over himself. He would have been the story. We would have been coming in here singing Wonder Fucking Wall again, and all would have been well in Leafland. So let's look at some positives. But again, you're absolutely right. Yeah, sorry, go ahead, JD. If you want to follow up on that.
Say, I completely agree with you. I was offended by some of these knobs in the fucking chat after the game. They're Wall sucks. Wall blew it. You trade him. The fucking guy played phenomenally tonight. I think he made 35 plus saves. It's definitely over 30. I think it was over 35. But I thought he was great. He had no chance on the first goal and little to no chance in OT. Well, he had 3-on-1. With a blown tire. Like, how do you're a fucking idiot. Whoever was in chat, you're a fucking idiot if you blame Wall for this, and you need to go get glasses because your eyes ain't fucking working.
Yeah, he made 39 saves. I'm just looking through here. He was absolutely dialed. He made a couple of disgusting saves, one spinning around. I don't even know. He was just throwing his body at it. A lot of like Tim Thomas style, like not even looking at the puck, just get in the way. And I love that. He was battling. I don't know. I saw a lot of good, and Zach, you're absolutely right. Like the past few years, we've been begging for something. Like, this is boring. Oh, we're facing Tampa again, and it's 50 games into the season.
Yeah,
we're facing Tampa. It's just a matter of running out the regular season. And now, I mean, I guess be careful what you wish for, because now we're fucking in a dogfight. Boys, I have a question for both of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
32 games left. 32 games left. We got 57. I'm going to set the imaginary bar of a playoff spot with everybody banged in together at 96. So you'd have to go about 20-12, 19-11-1. Is this team capable of doing that?
JD,
96 is definitely the number. My guess, I hate to say this, but looking at the schedule ahead of us, how many home games we have, how many away games we have, the teams we have to play, the amount of back-to-backs and stuff. If they get in and they don't miss by like a point or two, like they're probably fucking gonna, let's face it, if they actually get in, that's miraculous. I'd say. I'd say their odds are very, very stacked against them. I think a lot of the odds makers were giving them a 25% chance about a month ago. I'd say they're probably going to give them about a 5% chance at this point.
I'm going to say a higher percent chance that they can do it, but what did you say the record was that they would have to go effectively, Vic?
They have to go about 20-12, because if they have 57 now, I'm giving them 40 more points. That'll give them 97.
I think you can do it. I think they can do it. I also look at this, and part of what is going to help you is that you play Buffalo 2 more times, right? That's a team that's above you. I haven't looked at the schedule right now, but I'm going to assume you play Boston again at least 1 more time this season. I could be wrong on that, but I would assume that you would. You're going to have another game against the Canadiens here as well. Like, you have other teams ahead of you that you're going to get an opportunity to play against that can help out and be a big swing, because those technically are 4-point games, right, boys? Like, we just talked about this one. You give Detroit 2 and you take 1, but it's a 2-point swing because that's taking away a point from you that you could have had that Detroit now does have and moves up in the standings with. You're going to have those games coming up against the Sabres. You've got 2 4-point games coming up against the Sabres to close out this season. If you play the Bruins again, you've got at least 1 4-point game against them. So I think that also helps you, and I think you're creating some distance on the Flyers, on the Caps, on the Devils right now by just picking up points as you continue to go. It's not big enough, but I think they do it. As long as they can stay like 500 or above going into this Olympic break, I feel positive about the team coming out of it. It's just crucial to win the games you need to going into the break. Like, I will say this right now, and I don't think this is a hot take. Friday night is a must-win in general. Win an OT if you want to. I don't give a fuck, but it's must-win all the way around, points-wise, morale-wise, fan-base-wise, must-win. And then the game against Buffalo is must-win in reg. You cannot sacrifice any points to the Buffalo Sabres in that Tuesday game. And then as you go through like the next week here, before you get to the Olympics, I think that will determine it, but I think as long as you stay above 500 over this next stretch of 7 games, I think it is now. So if you go 4-3, I feel better about the team's ability to do it coming out. That's not exactly the pace that you need after, but I think you can go on a tear when JT is refreshed, Nyes is refreshed, Nylander, Matthews, and Ekman-Larsson come back from playing at the highest level. A lot of times these players come back and they get some type of bump themselves coming back into their lineup. So I think that the rest will be helpful to everybody, and staying above 500 over the next 7 games is crucial. 4-3, okay. 5-2, if you can do that, I think you're in a good spot.
Zach, I just wanted to jump in and answer my own question a bit, but first of all, if they lose Friday, you'll probably never see me again. One person you failed to mention, Zach, in that long list is Anthony Stolarz. I don't think we can, like, I'm the biggest wall guy, bless you. I'm the biggest wall guy, I think, but I feel like Wall needs Stolarz just as much as Stolarz needs Wall, and I feel like when those two are both in and they can spell each other and both of them can continue to stay fresh, this team is different. Getting Stolarz back in, and I think will give them a big boost. I will put their chances at a playoffs at 34%, though, because it's all on the back of that guy.
Okay.
Vic, the fucking optimist.
Yeah.
Fair enough. JD, anything else you got for us here tonight?
Yeah. Well, first of all, just to give you a little laugh, I thought to myself, a funny term for this fucking team. They're like masters of edging, because they get you right there, and you rarely get the fucking finish. This is right to the edge, man. You think you're gonna get your cookies, and they fucking got you off. But
10 years of edging.
I made some little game notes here. If I could just, as I always do, just read through a couple things that I noted during the game. Okay. First of all, the finish there with fuck. Why am I 53? Why am I drawing a blank here? Cowan. There we go. Yeah. Absolutely bad move. Sticking a rookie like that in a must-win OT. I don't know what the fuck they were thinking about it. I don't have any clue why that guy was on the ice. I love Cowan. He's a great player, but I think that's a detriment to him as a player and his development to put him out there in a situation like that. He got completely manhandled. That was a horrible decision to turn back there when he was 1-on-3, and it completely, ended in a brutal loss type thing. I think this is a couple times in a row now that I'm looking at what the coach is doing, and Burbay's some questionable little decisions late in games there. That was one thing. Another thing that I noted is even on the broadcast, the color commentators and stuff were talking about how great Gibson was. I honestly didn't think Gibson was that good. I think that the team literally made him look way fucking better than he was. Because if you take the game as a whole and you were to break down all the shots on goal and stuff, a lot of them were not dangerous chances. They're taking so many low percentage shots. So they got lots of shots. They made him look great. But I mean, between the two, I think Wall was by far the superior goalie in the game. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I would agree with you, and I think Vic would probably agree as well. I mean, I won't take away the chances the Leafs had. I thought that they did have some primo chances here.
Yep.
I look at the one that Tavares had when he was coming out from in the corner. They obviously had the penalty shot, that lot and fumbles there. They had the one that Cowan feathers through to Waugh that he kind of just misses and doesn't get on it what he would like. The pass from Cowan again to Domi on the one power play when the second unit came out and Domi had the chance in tight. And then as well, like the Matthews one-timer that Gibson gets across and makes a shoulder save. I will say he was dialed, not necessarily that those were like insane saves that he made, but I think he was dialed where, maybe on a normal night they could have gone in. But I do think that there were a lot of shots and chances tonight that weren't it wasn't like he had to work overly hard, but I'm not taking anything away from John Gibson in this one personally, Vic. Like, I think John Gibson played really, really well and made it difficult on the Maple Leafs tonight at bare minimum.
Yeah, like I said, to start, I thought he was shaky in the first period. Like, I just remembered the Auston Matthews, I think the first shot of the game, walks in, tries to go 5-hole. Gibson somehow gets his pad to squeeze it, and then he's just looking around. He has no idea where the puck is. It's under his legs. So I don't know. I thought if they were going to win this game, they needed to take advantage more in the first period, because as the game went on, I thought Gibson got better and better. He made a few windmill saves that kind of pissed me off too, on some shots that he didn't really need to make those windmill saves on. I felt like he was getting a little flashy. I like to bury a couple by a guy when he's trying to show me up like that, but them's the breaks, man. He played well.
What else you got, JD?
Yeah, just two quick points and I'll get off here because I know you guys got lots of other callers calling in. I made this point briefly on the last time they called in, but nice with the injuries and stuff like that tonight. I don't know what point it was in the game, I forget, but down the tunnel again. Down the tunnel, and then back in the bench, back in the game. Why in the blue fuck do they let this happen? The fucking kid obviously needs rest. Let him rest. Leave him out of game. There are options. Like I said, like blowing this guy out and causing permanent injury. They did it again tonight. They keep doing the same shit. So
my only thing, and again, it's speculation. I'm just guessing, JD. But my only thing is that I would honestly, genuinely wonder if the team and the player have come to a conclusion that this injury can't get worse and can't be affected long term if he keeps playing. It just can't get better, and that's why he's fighting through it. So that's my guess. And then the other part is like, I don't think that the Leafs in any way are forcing him to play. I think this is a Matthew Knies decision that he wants to play, and the team is saying, okay, you can. And if that's the case, I'm not going to stop the player from playing, because I don't think he's being a negative to the group. I just think he's not helping you the way that we've become used to. Vic?
I totally agree, but sometimes you got to stop people from making bad decisions for themselves. You gotta the junkies. Sometimes you gotta pull the needle out of the arm and put them in fucking rehab.
Okay.
Yeah, someone's got to let me stop letting me let Prague call in here. It's like the same thing for me.
Can I just add something here too? And I think
Absolutely.
that it might have a little bit to do with why Knies is so adamant on playing. When he went down the fucking tunnel, the second line was Michelli, Tavares, Robertson, and a little part of me died. I'm not going to lie. Like, that's scary to have, especially when you're trying to push for a playoff spot. And I think Knies probably sees that, and he's like, fuck, I can't. Especially with Willie going down. I think he sees that he needs to push through, and he's trying to do it and battle through for the boys.
Yeah, which I do appreciate. I understand what you're saying, JD. Like, I don't disagree. I'm just offering a different perspective here, where I wonder if that's the case, and I wonder if they all look at it and go, exactly Vic's point, if I don't play, who does? Because Nylander's not here, Joshua's not here. I'm gonna go out, and Nick Robertson has to step up, and Jacob Quillen has to come in. And does that put you in a more advantageous spot? I don't know if that's the case. Last point here, JD.
Yeah, just to end with that, it's such a tough thing, because you love the guy. The reason you love the guy is because he's willing to do that kind of stuff, and the reason you're pissed at the guy is because he does that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
Yeah, very final point, and you're going to love this one. This is my absolute hottest of hot takes, and I'm sure producer Vic, everybody's going to laugh at me and have a great time with this. Okay. This will never happen in our lifetime, but imagine Morgan Rielly at wing. And the reason I say this, I know I'm going to get laughed at. Listen for a sec. He's useless on defense for the most part. The thing that he does that fucks us the most, he loves to go deep in the corners and get in the muck and fight for and be way, way up front on all plays. All the time, he's always pinching deep. If you got a guy, he wants to go in the corners, he wants to muck around for pucks. That's what wingers do. I honestly... if we think about it for a second, I think he would be a better winger than he is a defenseman. That's my hot take. Never going to happen in this lifetime. Nobody will ever do it, but I would like to see that for a game.
Vic?
Kind of makes sense.
I actually... I'm going to ignore putting him at wing and just say that I thought he played pretty well today. He was jumping in the rush. He was flying, especially early.
He was.
I thought he played pretty well. I don't remember any glaring bullshit in the D zone, but I'm sure it was there. I just don't remember it.
It was there. Oh, it was there.
He makes some mistakes, but I do agree with Vic. Tonight was a better game. Look, JD, the one thing I will say about Rielly is they're very clearly not going to do anything other than leave him as a defenseman. It's too far in at this point to change anything. I've brought up the same thing. A lot of people in the chat have brought up the same thing, and it is something funny to think about. And the other day when I was furious, I spouted off about it as well. I was like, if you can't get rid of this guy and you're looking for a top six forward, maybe you've got one internally. Like, you just put him up there and say, fuck it, we'll deal with it. But I mean, look, man, the only part at this point that I can say, and I hope that they adjust to, is stop fucking playing him as the power play guy. I know OEL goes out, so you're limited in your options, but if OEL is healthy, he is the power play quarterback. He needs to be the power play quarterback. He's playing better than Morgan Rielly is at both ends of the ice right now. He's a more calming presence, and I think his shot is more effective coming in from the point through traffic than what Morgan Rielly can bring. I think he's less telepathic in terms of what he's doing, where you can just read everything super easily. So it's OEL that I'd rather have out there. And then the other just final piece of it is that's why I look at like a Luke Shen addition to this, and I don't think it would hurt you, because what do you have to give up? some super late round pick to get Luke Schenn. Okay, we know he has history with Morgan Rielly. We know they play well together, and I think it levels out your pairings. I think if he plays with Luke Schenn, let's assume health for OEL, because I personally don't think he's going to be out for a long time. So let's say OEL is here. Okay, maybe now you go McCabe, Stetcher, OEL, Carlo, Rielly, Schenn. If those are your pairings, you bury Rielly. He plays on your third pair. Stetcher and McCabe get back. They played well together before, and then OEL can go back to his left side and he can play with Carlo. And like, it's his fantasy land, and it may not work in practice. It might just be in theory, but Stetcher and McCabe worked well. Morgan Rielly should not be playing as many minutes as he has, and we know that there's a guy out there that exists in the NHL that he has had success with. So I don't know. That's just kind of how I would do it, and I would bury him in your lineup as much as possible.
So fucking sad that we're still talking about finding a fucking partner for this
Like 13 years in.
fucking guy for 13 goddamn years. I wonder who the problem is, guys. I wonder who the fucking problem is.
No kidding. All right, JD.
Hey, guess what? I'm leading in the polls, guys. I'm leading in the polls, 54.
54% of the chat says put him on the wing.
There you go.
The poll is blocking the chat on the screen, Zach. You got to make a vote or something. Get it out of my way.
I got to log in though. That's the only problem. All right. JD, thanks for the call tonight, buddy. Appreciate it. We'll talk to you again probably on Friday, I guess.
All right. Thanks a lot for having me on, guys. And good chat with you finally, Vic.
Good talking to you, JD. Have a good one, man.
All right. Have a good one.
There
See you
go.
guys.
JD, Vic, I was going to let you go after that. I'm going to get you on here for one final quick one. It's someone you know, so I'm going to let him on the line. Let's welcome in JRock. JRock,
Just let me leave. I know who it is.
what's up, JRock?
How you doing, fellas?
Pretty good.
How's it
JRock,
going?
we'll keep it quick because I know Vic's got to go and get ready for morning cup of hockey, but I wanted to make sure he was on for your call.
Oh, absolutely. I will keep it quick. So what spurred me to call in was the I don't know what Berube is doing, and he's made questionable calls comments.
Okay.
I can help you with that. There is a very fine line that coaches have to walk between ruining a player's confidence and keeping them in the line and keeping them in the lineup and putting them in situations where you're trying to teach them that this is how you have to play and you have to show the trust in them. One of the things that you don't have because your AHL team is not as deep is you can't just go, well, you're sitting for the next 6 games and I'm going to wreck your confidence and we're just going to bring somebody up to replace you. So it's a fine line that he's got to walk. So he's going to have to put people like Cowan in 3-on-3 situations because you can't have a shot like that sitting on a bench in 3-on-3. He's got to learn. So you keep putting him back out there. He's going to make some mistakes, but you've already got that point to get into overtime. No, you don't want to lose that second point. It's very important. But you have to walk a fine line as a coach, and that's one that's difficult to walk.
So I'll go quick here, Vic, and then I'll let you answer as well. So I don't really disagree with you, JRock. I would just say he's got to be conscious of who he's going out there with. I don't think that's the time when you put John Tavares with Easton Cowan if he's playing in 3-on-3. I think he has to go with somebody with more speed who can kind of make up for mistakes or be more. Like, honestly, the speed is the big factor for me because John Tavares is a responsible player, so it's got to be somebody who can catch up to the mistakes because that situation goes down. He's going out of the zone. JT is never getting back in that race to be able to break up that play. God bless him, no matter how hard he works, it's not happening. Berube did say after the game, it's a young guy. That's a mistake you kind of like. He says expect, which I know what he means because he's just saying he's a young guy. He's going to grow physically, maturity wise, like all of that. I just think you got to be conscious of who he's going out there with. And if you're not going to play the guys who are going to benefit him around him in that situation, that's when you can't play him, JRock. Like, if you aren't going to put out Matthews with him who can make up for it with speed, or Scott Lawton or Nick Waugh, if you refuse to play those guys, okay, that's your prerogative as the coach, your choice. But I don't think Easton Cowan can go out there with JT, because I think the counterbalance there is just too far off. It's gonna burn you. So that's my only counterpoint to what you have to say. But I don't actually disagree with you. I have no problem really with him playing. It's just like, who's he out there with? I don't think JT's the guy to match him with in OT.
I don't care if it was McDavid or McKinnon out there with him in terms of speed. That fucking mistake, it does not matter how much speed was out there with him. He can't make that mistake. However, again, I agree with you, JRock, in terms of keeping the confidence, because I mean, if we're not, I don't even have to go that far back. He scored the OT winner against the Flyers, 2 weeks ago? He was on the ice with John Tavares. They went on a 2-on-1 and he buried. So again, the confidence is there for him to be out there. He's done it. He scored, and I guess Berube played a hunch. My only issue with it was that I wanted to see Matthew Nyes play, and that's it. That's it. I want to see Matthew Nyes out there, and I want to see Bobby McMahon out there. I don't think Easton Cowan did enough, but again, he has the coach's trust. He has the coach's confidence, and he just buried an OT winner a couple weeks ago. I think that's why he was out there.
Yeah, I mean, even some of the greatest players, they make those mistakes, and they're really bad. Sometimes in a game 7, you throw a pizza in the middle of the ice, and sometimes things like that happen.
That have been? Who could
But more recently than the goal he scored, more recently than the goal he scored, though, is the pass he made to Morgan Rielly versus Vegas, when he could have walked in and he just put Rielly in a horseshit spot in OT versus Vegas, and you're kind of just like, what are you doing out there, man? Like, you have it. You buried the last one. Have some more confidence. I feel like Berube has confidence in Cowan, but Cowan is kind of lacking the confidence in himself. So there is that. That's that fine line I think you were talking about there, JRock, where like he's throwing him out there like, I believe in you, and Cowan's kind of squeezing his stick and making Berube look bad.
Yeah, it's a rook move sometimes.
Yeah.
Can't fucking do that shit.
Can't fucking do that shit. Yeah. Anything else, JRock?
Absolutely not. You guys keep doing your thing and get ready for your next show in the morning, Vic. And Zach, as always, thank you for doing this. It's a good time to be on here with you guys.
Thanks, JRock. Appreciate it, buddy. Enjoy the rest of your night. Yeah, we'll be in the chat tomorrow morning talking to you then. So thanks, JRock.
See you then.
All right, there you go. JRock on the post game. Appreciate the call from JRock. Vic, I wanted to make sure you were on for that one. With that, I will let you get out of here. So any final words, any words of wisdom for the chat before you leave?
Go Leafs, go.
That was
I'm so
convincing.
sad you have no idea. Yeah. God,
All right,
I hate
Vic.
losing. I hate doing this.
I know. It's tough. It's tougher in this year because genuinely I think they played a good game, and any other year I wouldn't have been pissed. And I'm just pissed that they lost the point, and I'm pissed that it came off of that mistake where it's like two very clear mistakes that burn you. Two very clear mistakes. One is the McCabe read that, and I mean, look, we're talking about Easton Cowan being a rookie making that mistake. There's a veteran in this league who's making a bad pinch at his own blue line on a 3-on-2 at a bad time in the game. Mistakes happen. I'm not trying to excuse either of them. I'm just saying they happen, and both of them burned you here tonight and costed it, and ended up being very costly.
And a veteran going Patty Kane on a penalty shot when he's not Patty Kane.
When he said after, by the way, Vic, he said, I was too tired to take the slap shot. I should have faked that my stick was broken and let Matthew shoot.
Amazing.
All right, Vic. Thanks, buddy.
Peace out. Thank you for having me.
Producer Vic on the way out with the theme music. Appreciate that. More stuff to get to, more calls to get to, as well as super chats. So thank you to all of you guys who have super chatted, who have commented, who are waiting in the call line. I'm going to get to every single one of you that are waiting here right now. So if you want to call in still, make sure to line yourselves up in that chat link. It is pinned at the top of the chat, as well as liking the stream. So first thing we'll do here We've got the Smelling Salts for 100 likes. Thank you guys for liking the stream. Keep liking. Let's get this thing to 150. Here are the likes. There's the Smelling Salts. Super chats that we've got. Reminder to people, just want to refresh to anybody who's new, who's just joining now, who are seeing super chats and not sure what they mean. Proceeds from our super chats do go to Sick Kids Charity, #1 research-intensive children's hospital in Canada, #3 in North America, and proceeds from our super chats do go to Sick Kids Charity. So get those super chats in as we go throughout the remainder of the show. Reading some of these off here. Boys Soul, Hockey for Dummies is out of date. You, producer Vic, Nick Alberga, and Jay Rosehill should write a new version and solidify your legacies with the easiest sales in the world. All right. I don't mind that. You think that we have the collective IQ between the four of us to write a book? I think Alberga is probably the one with the most ability and training. So maybe we could we could talk and then he could write. So maybe that's how. Okay, maybe you're onto something. JRock, I miss Savard. I also miss Roman Polak. JRock, I love you, man. I love the call, but you're a dickhead for that comment. Zach Green. This guy is a clown, Zach. We have heard enough. Oh, I think that was Prague. He doesn't know puck. He is the worst. Let the real Leafs fans who actually let you and Vic talk on the call. Prague is awful. Brutal take after brutal take. I saw Zach Green and Prague just battling it out in the chat there. Tom Robbins, who has been ripping super chats this year. I think Tom might be the leader in the clubhouse for super chats per show. Tom says, good take, Vic, with very little cap room. What's your thoughts on what they need to make a push to get into the playoffs? Honestly, Tom, I know Vic's not here and part of that was for him, but I would just say that a lot of this is health. And unfortunately, some of that is out of your control, and I know people are going to hear me say that and say, well, rest the guys you have playing. Well, that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is if William Nylander is back playing, are you in a better spot? If Anthony Stolarz is back and you have your 1-2 punch in net, are you in a better spot? If Chris Tanev was playing, are you in a better spot? If Dakota Joshua is back, are you going to be in a better spot? And, I know that Chris Tanev is probably out for a long time here, but we heard that Dakota Joshua is probably going to start skating soon. Does that mean he's back after the Olympics? I mean, based on the sounds of that, I would say hopefully yes. Is William Nylander going to play at the Olympics and be ready to come back and play for the Leafs? I would also say yes if he plays at the Olympics. I don't foresee the OEL injury being long-term, so hopefully that's something that he can play. He's played in all 50 games that the Leafs have played this season. He's been out injured twice. He's left injured twice, I should say, but he's returned for the next game. The first one, hopefully the second time here, he can come back in as well. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where they're at. I know a lot of people, actually, no, I know one person is saying that the Leafs medical staff are idiots. This is the same medical staff, as far as I know, that has been praised by everyone around the league for the treatment they get, the care they get, for how good these guys are over the last 9 years of them being here. There hasn't been any notable changes that I'm aware of, so I don't think anything here has changed with these guys. I think that you're looking at a condensed schedule and a tough start to the season, and you're seeing players who want to play because they want this team to get to the playoffs, and they're saying, we want to play. And as long as the medical staff is saying, hey, this guy can't get hurt any worse than he currently is, in terms of deepening the injury rather than just, hey, he could get injured again, it is what it is. I think getting some of these guys back. Habs absolutely hockey saying, so don't blame it on injuries. Habs have many injuries. We're fine. Look, man, I'm not saying that this is all because of injuries. The question that was asked, that I want to make it clear, the question I was asked where it was saying, what do the Leafs need to make a push? I'm not saying to go out and make big trades at the deadline. That's my point. My point is getting some of these guys back is going to be like an internal trade that can help you. It pushes guys down. It pushes guys out. You get William Nylander back here. That's an elite forward in the league that comes back and can help you score. It takes minutes away from other guys. It balances out lines. It helps Nyes maybe play less minutes and him rest more. Like, it helps a lot of things out. Dakota Joshua, I think, bumps out Yarncroke. Like, you push down the lineup and you look at guy after guy and you just start piecing those guys back in when they're supposed to be coming back soon. Like, that's where I would look at and be like, okay, yeah, getting these guys back, it would help. So Habs absolutely hockey. I don't disagree with you. I'm not using it as an excuse at all. I want to make sure I'm very clear with that. I'm not saying, hey, this is all because of injuries. I'm just answering the question, what do the Leafs need to make a push for the playoffs? You need these guys to come back. You need Nylander back in the lineup. You need Dakota Joshua back in the lineup. That's the first step. You need OEL to be healthy here and come back. Anthony Stolar's returning, I think, helps you as well. Not that Dennis Hildeby hasn't done a really good job. He has. But having 3 goalies in your rotation, I think, is beneficial as well. So those are some things that I think can help you. And I just want to make sure I'm clear on that. Like, this is the only time I'm going to address this, but Prague in the chat, hockey men and players telling me how good medical staff are. Wow, the experts have studied this so well and proven with reproducible scientific studies. So who am I to disagree, right? Prague, you're a fucking dickhead for comments like that, dude. Sorry, like, are you in the room? Are you the one doing the tests on these guys? Are you the one examining them? Do you have their medical sheets in front of you? Because I'm going to guess you don't, so you're just yelling and screaming about this. I'm not pretending to be a doctor myself, but the thing is, I don't fucking know, and all the other guys that they've had have seemed to take longer to come back than we expected, so they're obviously holding guys out and letting them try to come back rested. And there's obviously also another piece to this where it's like the player knows his own body and knows, I'm ready to play. I feel good. I'm not hurt when I skate. I can participate this much. I can give you this much. Like, these players know. So like, I just think that is a completely stupid argument to be like, whoa, hockey players know more. Like, no, this is not what we're trying to say. They know their bodies, and you don't know what is on their medical sheets. You don't know what it is that they're dealing with or where they're at. You don't know what it is when they're skating, how things feel. You don't. You don't fucking know. So stop trying to say that you know best because you are a doctor when you don't know what the injury is. You can look at it and you can hear things that could be the case, but it's all up to the players and the guys in that room and the guys in that medical staff, and they've done a good job over the 9 years they've been here in helping players deal with injuries and get back. So I'm just going to leave it at that. And everyone around the entire NHL is dealing with injuries. Like, Habs Absolutely Hockey pointed it out, and I don't disagree. And like, I think he made a good point. It's just like, they are, you want to say what you got to get you back. Okay, yeah, it's getting guys who are injured right now back into your lineup is going to be a helpful thing. Getting John Tavares back at the level that he was at the beginning of the season is going to be helpful, and I think a break here is going to help succeed in doing that. So I think that those things will help you make a push, given the way the team is playing right now. All right, let's get to our next caller here on the line. He's been waiting very patiently. I apologize for making him wait this long. Let's get to our guy, Zach G. Zach, great name, buddy. Great name, as always.
Yeah, great name, man.
What's up, Zach?
I was gonna touch on some of the stuff Prague said, but I'm not gonna bother because he's pissed me off. So I'm gonna move on to like one positive thing about tonight, and obviously, like, we got a point, right? So that's a positive, and they looked pretty good overall. So that's positive.
Yeah.
So like we're not out of the playoffs for, like, totally yet. So they got time, but the only thing that I have a problem with is, like, if they lose. I said, like, the next 2 games, but I mean, like, the only reason I say that is if they lose 2 more games in regulation, and like you said, if the other teams win, like, we got a problem, right? Because we're gonna be back like maybe 6 points, 8 points from the wild card. It's like, if something like that happened. So it's like, I just don't. I don't know if that happens, and you got to consider making a trade, and that's what I was trying to get out with the Lawton thing. Might not be him, but somebody, and get a pick back and consider a retool, or like a quick retool if you can. But I don't think we're going to be doing like selling Cowan and all these other guys. I think you have to pick one guy that actually could be a valuable piece to somebody who's actually going to make a playoff run. Like, I
Yeah.
don't want to lose Scott Lawton. I think he's an amazing player, and he looks like the type of Leaf that we've wanted to see for a while now. And but it's just like, man, he's not getting played enough, and that might be because Brube doesn't want to play him more, or because he's under pressure trying to kind of balance the team and not piss anybody off. But if you're going to keep playing him 13 minutes and you're not going to let him actually have more of an impact on the defensive side of the puck at the end of the game, you're going to keep getting this result, and you're going to get these little mistakes from guys that shouldn't be out there at certain
Yeah.
times in the game. And I don't know, man. You got to either go one way or the other if you're going to do what you're doing for the next 20 games. I don't see a world where Toronto gets into the playoffs if that's how they're going to continue coaching and making their like decisions on the bench.
So like, I think that's fair. The decisions on the bench are really, really interesting to me. That's a problem that I have with what's gone on. I think bench management more than anything is something that hurts them. And I wish that there was a way to get around that, with guys to help them or whatever, but it seems like it's something they're just going to have to deal with. Like, I know what JRock's saying when he just called in and he's like, yeah, you got to play Cowan in OT because he's a good player who can help you. And Vic pointed out he scored the OT winner against the Flyers. And like those things are all true. And I've got no problem with that. I just look at like who's he matched up out there with and how's a guy's legs doing at a certain point. I think you have to be more conscious of those decisions. And to your point about like how they played tonight, I think the problem with what and it's not a problem with what we are doing. The problem that we're having to deal with, I should say, is that we are evaluating every game like it is a playoff game. And it's kind of because it is, because you're trying to get yourself back into a playoff spot. And the way you have to play for the rest of the season is very much like you're treating this like playoffs. But, in any other season, which this is maybe moral victory game, and sure, hand up, I will take that on the chin if that's the case. But if it is you sitting here and being like, looking at that game realistically, any other year, you're like, that's a really good game. I'm going to sneeze, sorry. Never mind, I'm not going to sneeze, it passed. You're looking at that and saying, that was insane. You're looking at that and saying, hey, that's a really good game. You lost to the first place team in the Atlantic Division. And you could have won. You went toe-to-toe with them. You played really well. And I'm not saying it's like an excuse of, hey, you can't beat them because they're first in the Atlantic. It's more so measuring up how you've done. And I think you were arguing this in the chat, and I don't disagree with you in terms of, hey, maybe trading guys and exploring what you can get back. But I just think you have to be aware of where you are in the season. Like earlier when we were having these conversations, it was before they went on the run. And I think that that's fair to go to your team and your leaders of your team, Tavares, Nylander, Matthews, etc., and say, hey, this is not going right. We're going to take a step back this season. We're not in a playoff spot. We're going to sell off some pieces, and we're going to work on retooling, getting some assets back, and getting ready to be in a good position for next year. Maybe we're going to look for pieces that we could bring in that have some term, and we're going to try to find some guys on other teams that are buy low, and we're going to take on some contracts, and we're going to get some picks back, and we're going to get some prospects, and we're going to move some pieces. At that point in the season, when you were stinking the joint out the way that they were, that makes sense to me. That is fine, because that's justifiable to say to the team, we messed up. The season isn't going how it should be, how we thought it would be. We're going to take a step back, and I'm sure the guys and the leaders in that room are going to look around and say, hey, this hasn't gone right. Maybe this is part on us. Maybe this is part on the coach. Maybe this is part on you. But all things considered, it's not a good season for us. We can accept trades. You didn't decide to do that. You hung on and said, we believe in the coach. We believe in the group. We believe in the players that are here, yada, yada, yada. They then went on a run. And they've been playing some unbelievable hockey. And, the other thing you have to look at is like in a regular 82-game schedule, you're going to have some stinkers here and there. You're going to have some issues. You're going to have some bad games that happen. You're going to have ones that you drop, like the Minnesota one, the Utah one. They're just sticking out way more right now because of how important it is to get wins and to play your best every single night. They stick out more, but those are normal games in the course of an 82-game season. But if you look at the body of work since December 23rd, which is a short period of time, I get that, but they've racked up points and they've made themselves competitive. They were in a playoff spot for 24 hours or whatever the hell it was a week ago. If you decide to go into that room tomorrow morning and say, we lost to the Red Wings last night, we have to trade OEL and Lawton and a goalie and you start listing off veterans that you're going to get rid of, and you tell your team we're quitting, I think that can sour the room. And I think that's something you have to be careful of if your goal is to retool. If your goal is to rebuild, okay, sure, no problem. But that involves you having a conversation about trading Matthews, trading Nylander, trading, pieces that you consider the big pieces of this team, McCabe, Carlo, like trading those guys off to get rid of them. And you're just basically effectively rebuilding the team. If it's a retool, I think that you can have an open and honest conversation with the guys based on the way they're playing, but right now, I think sends a bad message. That's my opinion of it. And I think you should be wary of that, because I think like David Pasternak and the guys in that room and Charlie McAvoy were well aware with Boston last year that season wasn't going well, and it was time to move on from pieces and try again next year, and they could accept that. They weren't 1 point out of a playoff spot when those decisions were made. And I'm not saying that that's like the best long-term decision for you organizationally in terms of picks, but I'm saying that that's something that can really, really negatively affect how Matthews and Nylander view this team going forward and the direction of the team, because, without directly saying it, you're telling them, we don't believe in you and we're quitting. That's the reality, right? Like, and you don't want to sour that. So I think they believe, I think they're feeling it. I think the team is gelling. I think they're happy. They're enjoying themselves. They're working their dicks off. They're playing good games. Right now to do this, it's a bad time. If you lose the next 3 games and you fall 6 points out of a playoff spot, different conversation entirely. And I get that, but it's not the conversation you're having right now. That's a long answer, Zach. I'm sorry, but I wanted to jump in on it because I saw you talking about it in the chat. I just think Prague's not wrong about, hey, maybe you got to move off of these pieces and retool. No problem. But it's not a conversation right now. It's not. That conversation was before Christmas, and that conversation is now where you're at the deadline. It's not where it is right now.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think if you're going to do anything, it's going to be after the deadline or at the deadline, and it's going to be one way or the other. Like, you're going to try to buy a couple things, or you're going to try to sell 1 or 2 pieces for something, because I don't know, if you don't make the playoffs, then what are you going to do in the offseason? It's going to be kind of a tough offseason. Some of the re-signings they got to do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, what else you got for me here tonight, Zach?
Yeah, I don't know. I think they played overall just like pretty good hockey. They're still kind of playing the same way as they have been. So, I mean, they look a lot better. And I just, from what I saw in the game, like, I don't know, like, there's some mistakes that were made for like Cowan there, but like I said before, he's still learning, and unfortunately, he's in the NHL, man. So everybody's gonna see it and gonna shit on him for it.
The Cowan thing, I think it was a bad decision. But I think part of that blame just goes to Berube for the situation that he gets put in over it. I don't know. Like, I thought he made a lot of positive impacts. Vic brought up the stat of Waugh, Robertson, and Cowan when they're on the ice together. The goals for versus against is 6-0. Like, they're generating more for than they are against. So, I like what they're doing. I've got no problem with him being here in the NHL. It's just like, it's unfortunate that he's making these mistakes in a season where the mistakes, they can't happen as frequently.
Yeah, exactly. If it was last season, maybe, or the season before even, might have got away with it, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. I hope they don't do exactly what Brock says and sell everything. But if they are gonna, I do think they should move off somebody and try to get something back if they don't think they can kind of get in there this year.
Yeah, I got no problem with moving off pieces if it comes down to it as well. Like, I don't, but it's just that's not a conversation today after this game. In my opinion, you're still 1 point out. You look at how your standings sit right now. You're 1 point back of Boston, same games played. You're 2 points back of the Sabres, one more game played. You've got two more games against Buffalo. You've got games against the Bruins, and let me also just be clear. I'm not predicting this will happen, and I know Habs Absolutely Hockey is going to not like when I say this, and I'm not trying to suggest this will happen because they are on a tear right now and stuff, but like teams above you can also falter a bit too. It's not impossible for the Bruins to have a bad week, for the Sabres to have a bad week, for the Habs to have a bad week, for the Red Wings to have a bad week. And if you have a bad week, maybe you drop a bunch of points. Maybe you cool off for a little bit. Maybe you suffer an injury and something happens. And I'm not wishing injury on anybody, but my whole point is, what if you win on Friday? What if you pick up a point on Sunday and then you beat the Sabres on Tuesday? And now you've got 5 of 6 possible points over the next 3 games, and you've won a 4-point game against the Sabres. This is all hypothetical. Right? I'm saying that. Like, it's all hypothetical. But what if you pick that up? That's very possible that you could win on Friday, and I think you should be able to win on Friday, and that you could win on Tuesday against Buffalo. I have no idea about Sunday. That's one that terrifies the shit out of me. I don't want to just chalk it up as a loss, as a scheduled loss, but I think Colorado's going to come in here guns a-blazing and try to get back at you for that win that you took from them on home ice. And on top of that, they're a team that barely loses in general, so it scares me. But, like, what if you just rattle off a bunch? What if you win all 3? You know, hypothetical, again, I understand I'm saying that, but I didn't think that what they've done over the past month was possible based on the beginning of the season. So who's to say that the next 3 games aren't possible? And then you go 3-0 over your next 3, and you've got, 4 games remaining after that. You're in a good spot before you go into the Olympics. There's a lot that could happen before the Olympic break when guys get rest and can have an opportunity to come back more refreshed and healthy. So, I don't know, Zach. I don't know. I know a lot of it is hypothetical, but I just look at the teams above you, and I think it's not impossible for you to scratch and claw your way into a playoff spot. And I think if you get there, then you can do some damage, because I think this team is built to do some damage in the playoffs. And the way Auston Matthews is playing right now really intrigues me. And I think it makes it hard to just give up on the team because you lost to the Red Wings in overtime.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that there's still there's still a possibility they can get in for sure. So hopefully some guys come back, like get healthy type thing. And then after the break, like JT and Nyes, hopefully they can kind of rest up enough to come back and actually make an impact. So, yeah, I don't know, man. It's just kind of like a wait and see, I think, at this point. But, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, no problem, Zach. Anytime. Appreciate it. Thanks for the call, and hopefully we hear from you again on Friday after a win.
Yeah, here's hoping, man. Talk to you later.
All right. Thanks, Zach. Appreciate it. Zach G on the postgame. Always a good call. Always appreciate Zach G for jumping on here with us. With that, that'll close out our call-in lines for the night and get us to the point in the show where we wrap things up. Look, I know that I just played a big what-if game talking about potential for the next little bit, but, like, Mobius Strip brings up, and I don't remember if this is exactly correct in terms of how they rattled off the losses and the wins, but he said Tampa lost 10 in a row this season and won 11 in a row. I don't remember if it was 10 in a row for Tampa, but like these big swings are entirely possible, and every team is liable for it. Every team can have a moment where they just fall for a little bit, and next thing you know, the Red Wings stay stagnant at 66 points, and the Maple Leafs win the next 2 games, and they're sitting there at 61. And it's still a hill that you've got to climb, but it's possible. Habs Absolutely Hockey actually acknowledged, and was kind of, I guess, on the same page. It's possible every team can have bad weeks. Maybe the Leafs got their bad weeks out. Maybe they didn't, but maybe they got them out. And maybe now you can look at the rest of this season and you have a bad game or so here, which you would rather not have, but maybe you have the Minnesota game and it gets away from you and you don't win that one. But then you come back and you pick up points in each of your next 6 games, 7 games, and you can just pick up point after point after point. It's possible, I look at the Vegas Golden Knights are leading the Pacific Division right now. They have the same amount of wins as the Toronto Maple Leafs. Both teams have 24. The Vegas Golden Knights, though, they've got 12 losses and 12 OT losses. So they pick up points in OT. The Leafs have 9 OT losses. You look at a couple of those, get to OT, lose there. You'd rather get 2 points, but if you can force OT against Colorado at bare minimum, you pick up a point. Win on Friday, you pick up 2. You can rattle off a good stretch and you could end up in a good position here going into the Olympic break. I don't know, man. I'm not trying to say it will happen. I just think it's too early to get the fuck rid of these guys. It's a loss to Detroit. It is what it is. You got to have a near perfect end to the season effectively. Vic pointed it out. I think he said 24 wins or something like that you got to have. It's hard to do, but it's not impossible. The Sens basically did it last year to get in. So why can't you do it this season? All right, let's get to some of the segments that we've got here on the post-game show. Let's start with our best bet. Our best bet segment is a presentation of Bet365. Use code NATION, that's NATION, code NATION, NATION. Must be 19 or older, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you're someone who knows a gambling problem, visit connectsontario.ca. Best bet tonight loses. Unfortunately, I bet on Morgan Rielly to record a point. He does not. He was a +1 in this one, though, so good for him. 2 goals scored by the Detroit Red Wings, and he was on the ice for the goal 4 for the Toronto Maple Leafs and none for the Red Wings. So plus for Morgan Rielly tonight. Good for him. Does not cash our best bet, though. That one ends up losing. He did look good offensively. I will give him that. He looked good offensively. What else do we got? We got our Crave the Stats. Crave the Stats is a presentation of Uber Eats. As always, thanks to our friends at Uber Eats. Uber Eats is enabling fans to maximize their fandom all season long with exclusive game day deals on the app, from game day eats to paper plates and napkins, if you're hosting, to all the ingredients you need to make your favorite game day dip. Every time the Leafs are playing at home, you can get these exclusive deals in Toronto only on Uber Eats. The Firehouse Subs, the BOGO Brisket Hat-Trick, Kibo Sushi, the BOGO California Roll, Shelby Shawarma, BOGO Traditional Wrap. BOGO, of course, is buy one, get one before, during, and after the game. Uber Eats is assisting every fan's hockey experience all season long. Oh, there we go. Let's run through the box score. Also, quickly before I do, Michael says, Zach, without help, it's not impossible, but is extremely, extremely difficult. I don't disagree with you, Michael. It is extremely difficult. You do need some help, but you look at the teams. The good thing that you have here over the next while is you have teams ahead of you that you play against. Buffalo and Boston are 2 of them in particular. If you can get wins against those teams, if you get 2 wins in regulation against Buffalo, better spot. If you can get regulation win against Boston, I think that they play them one more time. I should have checked before the show because I brought it up a bunch now. You get a regulation win, you can get into a more advantageous spot. So those things help you and they are in your control. Outside of that, yes, you need help elsewhere, but you also just need to keep playing your own game and keep trying to win and pick up points every single night. You're going to lose? Okay, get to overtime. At bare minimum, get yourselves to overtime as much as you possibly can. All right, box score to rip through here tonight. Just some things to point out from this one. Joseph Woll, as Vic pointed out, is back 39 saves on 41 shots against, 951 save percentage. I want to point out a lot of those shots came in the third period and overtime, which is frustrating because we spent so much of this season just getting our shit pumped when it came to shots and constantly looking at, oh, we got outshot by 10, by 15, by 17, and, okay, we got away with a point in overtime, or we lost this one by 1, or maybe a 1, and it was like, wow, we really didn't deserve to, and we got outplayed, and we got outshot, and our goaltenders stood on their heads. This one, I think the goalie did stand on his head. He played unreal. Joseph Woll did. No blame for him. He looked awesome. He bounced back really well from the last couple of games that he's had. Craig Berube put the trust in him, and he showed that he deserved that trust. He came up here tonight against the Detroit Red Wings, and he fucking performed. Joseph Woll had himself a night. Unfortunately, it doesn't go his way, but it's frustrating that they allowed that to happen here tonight against the Red Wings, where it was just shot after shot after shot, chance after chance after chance for the Red Wings in the third period. You played so well for 40 minutes, and then to open up the first 8 minutes of the game, of the third period, you just kind of handed it to them, where it was like, here, let's see if you can take the lead now. And you kind of sat back and let them bring the game to you, rather than opening up the third period and bringing the game to them, bringing the pace of play, bringing the tempo to the Detroit Red Wings, which frustrated me because you spent 9 minutes of the third period trying to get that back effectively, and then you kind of leveled things out a little bit. I don't want to overdo it and say that they did level it out to close out the third period, but they made it not so disgusting of a watch to close out the third. And then in OT, it was all Detroit the whole time. So unfortunate, but Joseph Woll has played an unreal game. Unfortunately, it doesn't go his way. The rest of the team here, Easton Cowan, -1. He played 12 minutes tonight. Max Domi, -1. 2 shots on goal, 15 minutes and 21 for him. Calle Jarnkrok has an assist on the fan pass to Scott Laughton. Nyes ends up with 1 shot, 1 hit, nothing across the board. 0, 0, 0 everywhere else. He has 17 minutes and 28 seconds of time on ice. And then Scott Laughton, a goal, 3 shots, 15 minutes and 19 seconds. I thought he played well. That penalty shot sucks for Laughton, but it's just unlucky, I guess. Steven Lorentz, an assist, 14 minutes for him. Matthias Michelli, nothing across the board, really. 2 shots on goal. He did play 19:56. Matthews played 22:39, -1, but 5 shots on goal, and I thought he looked really good in this one. Bobby McMahon, -1. John Tavares, -1. It's a tough night, man. I wish that they got 2 points, and I wish they were able to beat the Red Wings. Defensive side, McCabe, -2. Carlo, -1. The -1 for Carlo, I kind of feel bad for him because Jake McCabe made a horrible read at the blue line, and Carlo ends up having to play that like 3-on-1, coming back the other way to close out that period. And Edvinsson makes no mistake, he buries past Wall, so sucks. I think he's been playing really well since he came back from injury, and losing Ekman Larsson after a minute 50 of time on ice, it doesn't help you. It means Morgan Rielly has to play more. It means Troy Stetcher's got to play 25. It just bumps up Benoit to 18 minutes. Like, it hurts you that way. It hurts you offensively. It hurts you breaking out. It hurts you in transition. It just hurts you all the way around. So that's what sucks about this one. Those are your box score stats, your team stats for tonight, just quickly. 50.8% in the face-off dot. Yet again, the Maple Leafs find a way to edge out the opponent in the dot. Power play, 0 for 2. Did look better. Penalty kill, 0 for 2 for the Red Wings. 2 for 2 for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So good night. Penalty killing here yet again. Let's get to our final segments and wrap this thing up. Let's go to our play of the game. Play of the game. I'd love to give it to the Laughton goal, the only goal that was scored, but I just can't do that here tonight. I think play of the game might go to the flurry of saves that Joseph Woll made. I think it was early in the first period when he was kind of spun around, and the Red Wings obviously kind of just missed on some of those chances, but there was a couple of wicked saves by Woll. He had a couple in the third period where there were some wicked saves as well, and just a bunch stacked on top of each other that he just pieced together over and over, and you just kept looking at it and being like, this guy is on his game here tonight, giving them a chance in this one. I thought he was unreal. A sneaky play of the game for me is also going to be the Auston Matthews first period, just because he was so sick. It was Bobby McMahon in the middle of the ice, dumps to Domi coming down the wall. He throws it back to Matthews up high. Matthews fakes a slap shot, comes down and just taps it under the stick of the defender, grabs it, steps in, and then ripping the shot that gets saved by John Gibson. And he was dialed here tonight, but early on when Matthews doesn't score that one, it kind of made me feel a little bit sick, where you're like, oh shit, this is gonna be one of those, because a lot of times that sneaks through the goaltender. Matthews gets him on that low shot from just a little bit out high, and you gotta just respect how good he is as a shooter, but unfortunately just couldn't get it to fall tonight, despite how good of a game he thought he played. Prague. This guy, he just hates Easton Cowan. That's what it is. I don't know if he's got a vendetta against the city of London, if he's got a vendetta against Easton Cowan in general. I don't know what it is, but keep saying, play the kids, send Easton Cowan to the AHL. That's a kid that you're sending to the AHL. So confusing to me. Says he's a child. That's him getting ragdolled was his play of the game. Hates Easton Cowan. Prague hates Easton Cowan. It's a shame. I would hate if the chat started accusing Prague of hating Easton Cowan. I would really hate that. That would really suck. It would be unfair to say that Prague hates Easton Cowan. I would never want to see that. Final thing to get to here, and I want to see everyone in the chat send your grades in. Let's get to our grades of the game to wrap this thing up. Grade of the game for me, I'm going to go with B-. Losing OEL during this one sucks. Having only 5 defensemen for the rest of the game sucks. The turnover by Cowan in overtime sucks. Only scoring 1 sucks. But you played so well for 40 and then just kind of fell apart in the third a little bit. And it wasn't a disaster zone. It was just very clearly like foot off the gas and not taking possession of the game. 2 for 2 on the penalty kill was great. They looked good. The power play goes 0 for 2, but like, again, it's kind of similar to you played well in the game, but you lost and only got 1 point. You played well on the power play, but you didn't score. So how positive can I be about it? Because like the power play needs to score, but they looked really good. It also brings it down because Prague hates Easton Cowan. If that vibe wasn't here in the chat and he wasn't just hating on this kid and trying to get rid of him, trying to run him out of town, and giving A+ as a fan of another team because he hates the Maple Leafs, I think we might have been higher, but Prague brings this down. It's a B-. B- for tonight. With that, that'll wrap things up here on the postgame show. Appreciate everyone. You guys will see me sooner than Friday evening and Friday for the postgame show. I will be here Friday morning to tee up with Nick Alberga the Mitch Marner game on Friday night. So I will be here in the chair co-hosting Nick Alberga Friday morning for Leafs Morning Take, but the boys will be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You can catch Leafs Nation After Dark wherever you get your podcast, Leafs Nation After Dark, so make sure to check us out there. Thanks to everybody who watched tonight, called, liked, subscribed, sent super chats, all of that. I appreciate all of you guys. I look forward to seeing you very, very soon. Until then, keep believing. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take, Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rose Hill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos. Make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything, and drop a like.